Good afternoon, everyone. How are we? Nelly in the house. How are you? Hope you're well on this magical Monday. Is it a magical Monday or is it Monday madness? Bit cloudy. Looks like it could be warm. Who knows what's going on? But I don't do the weather, do I? Oh, my weatherman. How you doing, Alan? Hope you're well on this glorious Monday. Sup, peeps? TTC in the house. Anyone playing yo-yo? Oh, yeah, beats and tapes. Yeah, he's on the yo-yo. He's on the yo-yo. Beats and tapes, beats and tapes. I like that one. Sup, peeps? Sup, peeps? Good afternoon, Jake Rooney. I was going to email you, then I realised I emailed you yesterday. I had a funny old day. Oh, I've just got my alert. I've gone live. Oh, look, it took 2 minutes, but I've got it. Yeah, it's all going on. What a week we got here, eh? I'll tell you, isn't it lucky I've changed the lives? Because Tuesday, which I don't go live at, I'll just load the video up maybe. Or Tuesday, I got blood tests. And on Thursday, I've got to go back to the dentist, and I'm not live on Thursday either. I was like, how cool's that? Because otherwise, they literally right on the time when I would have gone live. So it's lucky I changed it. But yes, Monday, Wednesday, Sundays, 1 p.m. we go live. And next Sunday, we'll probably actually do a call-in. But I've done the Ahmadi religion thing because obviously it was in the news and it's quite a big story, wasn't it? Juicy. So, yes. But, oh, you enjoy it, mate. You make sure you enjoy it. That's what I say. Oh, wrote an email. Oh. You wrote an email. Sounds serious, ladies and gents. Don't forget, your English teacher might be put me in detention. How dare you suggest this, Mr. G, Mr. G, Mr. Whiz? But yes, I've got a couple of things like instead of like news. Do you know what I mean? Like articles, like I don't know. I'm trying to like think of other ways, but I found like a clip of Douglas Murray talking about Israel. I've got my headphones ready, and also there's a clip with Natasha. I don't know how you can say her surname. I don't want to say it wrong, but I think it's Hausdorff, where they're talking on Israel with the monk debate. And then also Sadiq Khan, something he said a couple of years back will make you think, we get you now, mate. You've been exposed. You've been exposed, you little lying little weasel. Oh, I can't stand someone like people like Sadiq Khan. So yeah, we've got a few things that we can go through. So that would be kushti. So yes, other than that, who's been doing what today? What is it? 1 o'clock. What have you been doing today? Because like obviously I had to sort out and everything getting ready for today. But I had 5 minutes. I did watch a bit of the World Superbikes. I did watch the highlights of the Miami Grand Prix. Yes, I'm sorry. I like it all. And I'm blessed that Tottenham beat Aston Villa 2-1, and we're 1 point out of the relegation zone. What's going on, guys? What you done? What did you do weekend? Come on, speak to me, geez. We're all fam. Speak to me. Have you got your coffees? Look, Costa, not sponsored by yet. Come on, Costa. Don't you see my videos? Costa Coffee. Otherwise, I have to run to Nescap and ask them instead. A Costa cup with Nescap inside it. So, you know, I'm thinking I might have to buy a proper coffee machine. What do you reckon, ladies and gents? One where you get beans, you get to crush them up and make a proper coffee. Ooh, probably get addicted to that. And then the doctor will probably tell me off and go, where's your art, mate? All that caffeine. Slow down. But yeah, but let me know in the chat. And if you're watching and you want to have a word in the chat, all you got to do is subscribe. Literally just wait for 1 minute, refresh the screen, get in the chat. Go, hello, wizard, not lizard, just so you know, not reptilian. But yeah, I thought we'd touch because everything's still going on in the world and everything. And I looked, we mentioned the explosion in Bristol yesterday, didn't we? But nothing's come of that yet. They're just saying it's suspicious, and it seems like maybe the bloke's like lost the plot and maybe he got dumped and didn't like it and then done something. I don't know. I'm not too sure. But they're not really sort of releasing much, and a couple of kids were injured, which is not good. But yeah, and a number of property being searched, but I couldn't really find anything new on it. So I was like, oh, typical. After it had been brought up by you guys yesterday, saying, "Hey, Weez." I think it was Slim and Pat, wasn't it, that said it? So, yeah. But what we'll do today, like I said, we listen to Douglas Murray. It's about 6-minute video. I've been debating all morning whether I just let it play through or stop it and we discuss. But it's probably best I just play it through, isn't it? Because I can bring Douglas Murray up on screen. I can like blank my head out so you can concentrate, listen to what Douglas says, and then we can discuss it. And then we got Helen. She's just like Natasha. A 4-minute little chat that she has, and then there's just 2 minutes with Sadiq Khan. So how you doing, Bouncy? Hope you're well, mate. Hope you're well. So yeah, it's all good. So that was the plan for today, and then obviously I have got a new story set aside regards to Iran and what's going on. So yes, it's all going on. But yeah, and anything else that's happened that I've missed or whatever, you have to let me know. But grab your copies. But yeah, I don't think I've really anything else has jumped up really about not about Trump or the King doing his trip to America and then Bermuda. Nothing's really sort of come up. I looked at the top news and there's not really that much going on. I mean, the most exciting thing that's happened is I hit my thumb with my lump hammer. Yep. Wifey doesn't know what she's done with my claw hammer. She thinks she might have put it in something and it's obviously gone to the tip. My claw hammer. Do they know how much that is? But yeah, I had to do something. So I used a lump hammer and I actually hit my thumb. And yeah, skin off, blood, you name it. I popped me thumb. So, but luckily, like the nail and everything's all tickly-boo. I actually caught it on just to the side of the nail. Look, I don't know. I don't want to gross you out, but you can just see there. Look, oh, poor Wiz. Oh, didims. But yeah, I think it's just red raw. Like it's trying to heal. Poor thing. Yeah. I was like, oh, not very wizardry. But you know, what can you do? Don't hit your bloomin' thumb with a hammer, ladies and gents. That's the advice for a Monday. But yes, but got my hair's you can tell like when I've been wearing it up, it goes all crinkly, doesn't it? Does that mean I can claim I'm a woman because I've got a beard and long hair? Oh, I do like Tizer, but that bar, they make the best cream soda. That's not a bad brand, I'll be honest. The cream soda is just like, yes. Definitely. Because they do a nice cherry aid as well, I might add. So it's not a bad choice, but yeah. But right, let's get this sorted with Sir Douglas Murray. He should be a sir, shouldn't he? Douglas Murray. I've got my headphones ready, yep. It's all good. One day I'll get my sponsorship. But right, we need to listen to Sir Douglas Murray. Yeah, I've got Sadiq Khan coming up saying something. You'll be like, oh, yeah. But we'll get on with Douglas Murray, see what he says here. And let me know in the chat what you think. Let me know in the chat.
Well, thank you very much, Rudyard. It's a great...
I hope you can hear it as well. If you can't hear it, let me know and I'll restart.
Pleasure to be back at the Monk debates. When I was last here a couple of years ago, I just returned from the front line of the war in Ukraine, where I was with the Ukrainian armed forces. And for most of the last 8 months, I've been in Israel and Gaza, following the war there as closely as I can. And I won't go into all the details now that I could give you of what's happening. But I would just put it in perspective in this way, first of all. What happened on the 7th of October was not just a massive attack on innocent people inside Israel. It was the equivalent to about 6,000 Canadians being massacred and burned in their homes in one day. It's the equivalent of about 1,500 of your fellow Canadians being taken hostage. You know, you would have thought after an attack like the one that Hamas instigated, that started this terrible war, you would have thought that there would be some sympathy for the world, from the world. You might have thought the world would pay attention to the attack and at least pay attention to the people behind it. You might have expected, like me, that there might have been a worldwide opposition to the terrorists and rapists and murderers of Hamas. You might have thought there would be hatred around the world erupting, that the government of Qatar and its mouthpiece, Al Jazeera, its funding of Hamas and its hosting of the leadership of Hamas in Qatar. You might have thought there'd have been an outpouring of rage at the Islamic Revolutionary Government in Tehran, but no. There was an immediate outpouring of rage against the state that had been attacked. Bring back our girls, we had 10 years ago in the war in northern Nigeria, which I also covered. Bring back our girls. No international campaign saying bring back our Jewish children. Believe all women, we've been told for years. But turns out, not if the raped women are Jews. Israel is the only country in the world which, when it's attacked, gets attacked more. You know, the interesting thing about anti-Semitism is, as my late friend Jonathan Sachs said, it's a shape-shifting virus. It moves across the centuries. When you could hate people for their religion, the Jews were hated for their religion. Then you couldn't hate people for that anymore. So people hated the Jews for their race. And then after the 20th century, people realized that wasn't such a great idea either. Now, the Jews are hated not for their religion or their race, but for having a state. People around the world hate them so much for it that Israelis are attacked when they have hostages taken, and this is to remember the 100 hostages still in captivity in Gaza, who, if they were given back by Hamas today, the war would be over. And they're also attacked when they rescue their hostages. You know, the interesting thing about anti-Semitism is the Jews can never win, because historically they've been hated for being rich and for being poor. They've been hated for integrating and for not integrating. They were hated for being stateless. Remember, rootless cosmopolitans, the far right used to say. Now they're hated for having a state. Today, the only really acceptable form of anti-Semitism, aside from the sewers of the far right, the only real tolerated form of anti-Semitism is anti-Zionism. Zionism, as we just heard, is simply the right of the Jews to self-determination in their historic homeland. That's all. Anti-Semitism, as we've also just heard, is double standards against Jewish people, or cruel and unfair treatment of people because they're Jews. This isn't very far away from home here. If this isn't anti-Semitism, can the audience here tell me why the following things have happened since October the 7th? Why in a Montreal suburb a synagogue should be firebombed, as happened in November? Why there should have been gunshots against the yeshiva? Why in Toronto a bookstore owned by a Jew should be attacked? Why a Molotov cocktail was thrown through a Jewish community center in Montreal? Why a Toronto Jewish deli in North York was firebombed? Why in Toronto the Orthodox synagogue was vandalized? Why in Toronto 2 men opened fire the other week on a Jewish girls' school? If it isn't anti-Semitism, tell me why just a week ago pro-Hamas protesters tried to go through Jewish areas in this city shouting not just Allahu Akbar, but, and I quote, sorry for the language, fucking filthy fucking Zionist pigs, dirty Zionist rats. Have you heard that language before? The Jews have. Now look, if you are interested in this motion, just bear this in mind. It's not about Netanyahu, it's not about this war, it's about double standards. And one question hovers over it above all, the question of who would protect the Jews. Who would you trust to protect them? The Europeans? The Arab world? No. History shows only one people will protect the Jewish people. The Jewish people. That's what Zionism is. Thank you.
What do you think of that? Go Douglas. Only facts for Douglas. Points it all out. It's weird, isn't it? How like, they get attacked, but then they get hated on and attacked more. But a lot of it was to do with the propaganda coming from Hamas. A lot of it was. So, you know. But from the beginning, that as soon as what was I going to say? As soon as the situation erupted, shall we say, on October the 7th, I looked into it because you can't go by what I just don't trust anything that I see or hear. I want to back it up and right. Let's have a look at the facts. And I did. I looked up the facts. Do you know what I mean? A lot of what was coming out was just absolute rubbish. And I thought, right, what is this Palestine? Oh, right, it doesn't exist. Okay, that's good. It's not on any map. It doesn't exist. Fair dues, fair dues. Already knew like you all must know as well, the Bible, the Quran. Yeah, even the Quran says it, believe it or not. They're going against the Quran, says that it's a land of the Jews. It's given to them by God. So, but that's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So what link is it you're after? TTC? Yeah, people don't like it, especially when it involves the Jewish people. They're like, nope, don't want to hear it. Nope, anything against it. Yeah, she's a good speaker, very knowledgeable. Hence why I chose her. It's only like 4 minutes 8 seconds to be precise, which it's a shame. I'd want yeah, I could have done one longer on there. But yeah, because I'll tell you what was annoying last night. I don't know if you saw it on GB News. It was on in the evening. Free Speech Nation, is it? And a woman was saying how it is. Some bloke was saying like he was radicalised from the age of 6 because of his parents. He left Islam, but then he went back. But now he's just a moderate Muslim, as they call it. Like, there's no such thing. Like, read the Quran. It's just pure hatred. And the girl was calling it out, yet he was making out he's Mr. Reasonable, and he wasn't. He was not calling it out. So, oh, did she? Oh, Owen Jones, can't stand him. He's like, yeah, free Palestine. They're going to kill me for being gay. Woohoo! So, it's absolutely nuts. Yeah, I can't stand Owen Jones. I tagged him in a few things. Obviously, don't take any note because I'm a nobody, but always tag him in it. Like, he's just so full of it, isn't he? And he just lies out of his backside. And a lot of it is like because of the land, isn't it? And oh, they're on occupied land, and oh, no, they're not. I'm just like, Palestine don't exist. Shut up. I really can't be asked to keep going in it. The link, it was on X. That what you just watched there, that link, that was on X. So do you want the link to X? I haven't got the link to the actual monk debate, but if you go on YouTube and obviously search monk debate, Douglas Murray, then it should do you a favor. Should do you a favor. So it was on LBC, was it? Oh, I might have to look it up then. See if we'll play it after. That might be a thingy, but MUNK. It's right there. Look, see it just on. Natasha's left arm, the monk debate. So, how you doing, Phil? Hope you're well, mate. Did you enjoy the Miami Grand Prix? Yeah. Sprint race, very good. Actual race, very good. With the cargo flying off and up, landing like weird, wheel up in the air and that. That's quite crazy. But yeah, it was good. But I watched obviously the MotoGP. Had to. So it's actually on LBC. I can look that up, I expect. It'll be on YouTube, won't it? Oh, pressed the wrong button. It'll be on YouTube, won't it? YouTube highlights LBC. Let's I've never liked that Owen Jones. He's such a liar. I'm not a fan, never have been. Oh yeah, but she smeared Gaza protests and I took her on. Just watch. Israel has committed a live stream genocide. No, it hasn't. That's crazy. Yeah, we've got it here. It's 17 minutes, did that say? I've just got to hit the button there. Yeah, 17 minutes. Well, it might be worth a watch then, mightn't it? Mightn't it, ladies and gents? So yeah, might be worth going through that, review that. Interesting. Right, we'll have to go with so people. Well, Tottenham beat Aston Villa 2-1, mate. Couldn't believe it. And Aston Villa scored their goal in the 90th +6 minute. Holy moly. So yes, we're 1 point out of the relegation. Right, Natasha. This is also on the monk debate, obviously, but a very good one. Yep, I found it. It was good to find. It's quite new, so but I watch it via LBC because I'd be worried like someone like Owen Jones, because if I insult him, he'd be like, nee. So do you know what I mean? But it's only like 17 minutes long, so I don't know. Screw you, Wiz, yeah. But yeah, that's what it is, mate. I'm gonna play this, then I'm gonna play the Sadiq Khan bit, which is weird, and then I'll actually go for it. It's only 17 minutes, so I don't know if you want to come up and talk about that with me, Jake. I'm not saying you have to, it's just off the cuff because it's 17 minutes, but people might get bored of just listening to me. I don't know, but it'd be interesting to see the way he worded it on his channel. Was like, oh yeah, I take her on. Like, well, let's be honest, mate. You're always find his whole arguments are just invalid. It's just like I think. Well, and he lies. There's no facts. I just don't get it. But yeah, I'll watch it on the LBC. It's 17 minutes, but you know, that's just an open offer, Jake. Like I say, I mean, it's literally just off the cuff because you mentioned it. I've looked it up and I'm like, oh, hello. So, you know, 17 minutes. I'll play it. Don't you worry, ladies and gents. We'll watch Owen Jones get destroyed. I can't stand him. I'll enjoy picking at him. So, right, let's have a look. This is 4 minutes, 8 seconds. I'll blank myself out again because you don't need to just see me sat there watching. But yeah, let's listen to what this young lady says and we discuss it because Douglas Murray, it was just a superb.
This debate is about racism and creating a double standard where you make an exception for the Jews. Now, you don't have to support Zionism, but if you are anti-Zionist, if you are against the Jews having a state, you are against the Jews. Mehdi Hassan is lying about what Zionism is, and in an attempt to win this debate, and to provide cover for his own anti-Semitism. We usually hear a series of lies spewed by anti-Semites and anti-Zionists in an attempt to justify their anti-Zionism, and these are the modern blood libel. They are widely believed as the ancient blood libel, that Jews killed Christian children to use their blood for religious ritual, as widely believed and as false. I'm going to take you through 4 blood libels that anti-Zionists rely on. Number 1, the libel of colonialism. Israel is the ultimate decolonization success story. Against all odds, after Arab imperialism, Islamic conquest, and British colonialism, the Jews indigenous to Judea re-established Israel. My family lived under Ottoman and then British colonialism in Jerusalem long before Yasser Arafat, who was born in Cairo, created Palestinian national identity in the 60s. Number 2, the libel of ethnic cleansing. In 1948, when 5 Arab armies and the local Arab population attacked the fledgling state of Israel with the stated intention of annihilating its people, 700,000 Arabs escaped the fighting. Those that remained became Israeli citizens. The Arab population of Israel has increased tenfold. This is ethnic cleansing? No. Ethnic cleansing is what happened to the Jews in 1948 when Jordan occupied the West Bank. Ethnic cleansing is what happened to 850,000 Jews expelled from Yemen, Algeria, Egypt, Morocco, Syria, Lebanon, and Iraq, where they'd lived for thousands of years. Ethnic cleansing left Arab countries Jew-free. Meanwhile, 2 million Arabs live in Israel today. Number 3, the libel of apartheid, because those Arabs that remained in Israel are now 20% of its population, the only free Arabs in the Middle East. They are represented in every area of Israeli society as mayors, army officers, police commanders, members of parliament and the Supreme Court. I served under Salim Gibran, who put both an Israeli prime minister and a president in jail. And those who propagate the lie of apartheid seek to conflate Arab citizens of Israel with Arabs living under the Palestinian Authority, who have an autonomy and should be voting for their leadership. But President Mahmoud Abbas is now in his 19th year of his 4-year term. Number 4, the libel of genocide, the reprehensible smear that maliciously accuses the Jews of perpetrating the very crimes committed against them. October 7 was the latest in a long history of genocidal acts by Arabs against Jews in the Middle East. The genocide libel inverts reality. Hamas has spent 16 years embedding its terror infrastructure in mosques, schools, hospitals, and every second house. Its central military tactic is to use civilians as human shields. And in the face of these unprecedented challenges, the IDF has taken greater measures to prevent civilian casualties than any other army in history, far exceeding the requirements of international law. Genocide is the latest modern blood libel that anti-Semites use to justify their anti-Zionism, and it is central to Hamas's war strategy. Today, its only aim is to survive, and to achieve this with international pressure on the Jews to cease their self-defense. Voting for the opposition supports Hamas in this endeavor by legitimizing, aiding, and abetting their anti-Zionist aim to wipe out the Jews from the river to the sea. Don't stand with the terrorists and anti-Semites. Stand on the side of moral integrity. Stand with the proposition.
Well, she's very good with her words too. No messing about. It's good that people speak facts, don't you think? I pressed the wrong button. But it's just refreshing. It's actually really refreshing. Let me share the screen again. But there we go. That people like, instead of just saying this and everything else, do you know what I mean? It's like actually like, yes, you can give your opinion or review, but the facts around the situation, if you actually screwed on, you get it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I think might be a turning point for Spurs. Thank God. Thank God. But yeah, we shall see what happens. This little weasel on the screen, I believe this was 2018, and it actually just shows his true intentions. And you would not believe what he finds that offends Muslims. It's just hilarious. It's only 2 minutes. It's only 2 minutes.
President Trump ne ki thi. I'm very concerned. Jerusalem has to be part of the negotiated peace settlement. आपको मालूम है war से पहले East Jerusalem was part of Palestine और UN और पूरी दुनिया को समझती है कि Jerusalem is part of a peaceful solution. अगर Americans ये कह रहे हैं कि the embassy will be in Jerusalem, इसकी मतलब ये है कि वो ये कह रहे हैं कि Jerusalem is the capital of Israel. और इसलिए बहुत खतरनाक है और मुझे you know the president of France, the prime minister of UK, other world leaders ने condemn की है और ये एक और मसला है where President Trump doesn't understand world politics, or doesn't understand the offense he's causing, and बहुत अफसोस की बात है. But as a world, we've got to unite and explain to President Trump why he's wrong. What we shouldn't do is, you know, get involved in violence, get involved in people losing their lives. We've got to make sure we lobby the US government to change their stance.
President Trump 2018 में लंदन भी आ रहे हैं, तो आप जब वो लंदन में आएंगे
सुना है
तो
खबरों में
अगर वो आए लंदन में तो आप उनको वेलकम करेंगे?
I've been quite clear. ये जो President Trump के views हैं इस्लाम के मुतालिक अच्छे views नहीं होते हैं. When he ran to be the Republican candidate, उन्होंने ये कहा था कि Muslims are not welcome in USA. Muslims को ban करेंगे पूरी दुनिया से come into the USA. आपको मालूम है कि Americans हैं जो मुसलमान हैं, proud Americans, proud Muslims. मेरे शहर में Londoners हैं जो Londoners हैं और मुसलमान भी हैं, like me. तो वो ये कह रहे हैं कि Muslims are bad. और since he became president, आपको मालूम है कि we've had some differences. मैंने ये कहा है कि we as a country shouldn't be having a state visit for President Trump. We shouldn't be rolling out the red carpet. मैंने सुना है कि वो शायद आएंगे February में. Not going to be a state visit. मगर देखेंगे क्या होगा क्योंकि लंदन में लोग President Trump के fans नहीं हैं. तो अगर वो आएंगे तो I predict there will be lots of protests.
आप उनको क्या मशवरा देते हैं? What is your advice to him? Don't come to UK.
My advice to him is change your views. Your views on Islam, your views on Muslims. Many.
So it's at the beginning where he says basically, if I actually make it smaller, he actually says here in it that Trump for recognising Jerusalem as Israel's capital, calling it offensive to Muslims. Like, what? Oh yeah, I saw that. I saw that clip as well. How weird's that? I actually saw that clip. That's a pair of them, innit? Because I think I shared that this morning. Let me scroll through my thing. I'll see if I've got it. If I have, I'll play it. Yeah, the pair of them, Shabana Mahmood and Sadiq Khan. It's crazy. I'm just having a look, see if I've got it. Shabana Mahmood. Shabana in a mood. And Sadiq can't. I don't know when I posted it. I remember that. I remember that link. Because I shared it. So I think one of those links that I played is actually from the same person on X. I'm scrolling through, trying to see. I'm sure it's the same person that posted it. Let me have I'll go to that actual account. I don't think. Let's have a look. Yeah, it's his. It was his video with Douglas Murray, the same viewer. I'm just waiting for it all to load. It takes blooming forever. Don't know what it's doing. Today'd be good. Bits and bobs are coming up. Come on, where are you? Sadiq Khan and Shabana Mahmood. Trying to find a video. It's like a needle in the haystack on X, isn't it? There it is. 25 seconds. I found it. Whee! Well done.
Important from all the things that you've seen in terms of the way that the drain.
Right. In Pakistan years ago, this was.
Important from all the things that you've seen in terms of the way that the drainage is working, but we explain to people who are donating and giving lots of money, your money doesn't just get spent on feeding people or giving them medicine. Those things are incredibly important, don't misunderstand me, but actually it's about equipping.
Oh, what is it doing? Yeah, I think it is, mate.
People who live in this area to cope with future problems, because we can't guarantee there won't be another.
That's very annoying, isn't it?
We can't guarantee there won't be another bad flood. We can't say that this area will never face another natural disaster.
But, the write-up on it says it looks as if they were carefully handpicked and groomed from a young age to lead Britain in a very specific direction. This has all the hallmarks of long-term, well-funded planning. Yeah, there's a few videos going around on X as well, saying like they're actually there, like the leaders of whoever it may be, or imams or whatever they are, saying like, oh, we've tried to take the West via violence, but now we don't have to. We can now infiltrate politics, this and that, because we're so gullible and stupid. So make of that what you will. But yeah, no, it's not. It's just all rubbish, isn't it? Yeah, but so Jerusalem, but you know, they've got literally no history, no artifacts, absolutely nothing to back up in any shape or form. So what they do is try and wipe out everyone else's, and that way they can then say, "But you ain't got anything." We're like, "Yeah, because you burnt it all, knocked it all down, smashed it all up." Yep, they choose to be offended in absolutely everything, but they're not offended when they're trying to genocide the Jews on October the 7th. No, they're jumping up and down celebrating. So, country set up to fall, basically, yeah. It's uncame with a dream Muhammad. That's if Muhammad even existed. Yeah. So, drive-by shooting. No, I've not heard about a drive-by shooting. Let me let's see. Oh, the police are probing the link between the drive-by shooting and the stabbing. Oh, Brixton. Yes, I did hear. Because Mrs. went, Brixton, where's that? I was like, London, mate. Drive-by shooting. One man is in a life-threatening condition after the attack in the early hours of Saturday. Crazy, isn't it? The world we live in, mate, can't do nothing. There's always someone that's trying to destroy us in some shape or form. Yeah, that's debatable. Competent of anything, so you're probably right there, Jake. He got his notice for his standing work to. Yeah. You don't like a lot of people, but you like the lady. You like Natasha. It goes where we least expect it, I expect. They got about 2 million Muslims living peacefully, and they've even said that they love living in Israel. Tommy Robinson interviewed them as well. Or local government. Ooh, make sure it goes the right way, mate. Go and cast your vote. Yeah, I've worked there. But this is it's like 16 minutes 59. We can stop as we go. Start and stop, start and stop. Jake, I don't know if you heard earlier, I said like as we go through this, it's 17 minutes. I didn't know if you want to come up and have your say or not. It's up to you, Mel China. I'm not saying you have to, because we do whatever on Thursdays, but I could have left this for Thursdays, but it's 17 minutes, so it's a bit sort of, normally I try and go for half an hour type videos that we can review for a Thursday. And I need to find something for this Thursday, obviously. Otherwise, you'll all be going, what are you talking about, Swiss? And I'll be like, dunno. Do you know what I mean? So I'll post the link for you, mate. And before I press play, that's what it is, though, isn't it? Nonsense. You basically, don't try and make sense of it, mate. Give you a headache. You'll strain your brain cells and go bold with stress. You're like, I can't work it out. And everyone will be like, yeah, because it's nonsense, mate. It is nonsense when you're talking about Muhammad and Islam. So, yeah. I've noticed that when you look at Jerusalem, it's actually got USA in it. Just saying. But, yeah. But ladies and gents, we're going to get joined by Jake. We're going to discuss this. This is to do with the world's been turned on its head. Should the UK ban pro-Palestine marches? Yes, they should. Anything that actually supports any type of Islamic ideology or terrorism should be banned, because it's incompatible. So... So it's all good, but it's gonna be a giggle, because I can't stand Owen Jones, and I'm all up for like giving that bloke not a literal but a good kick in the nuts, the gay nuts. Hey,
hello, Wiz. How are you doing today?
Living the dream.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Yeah, I didn't get time to do hair today. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
A bit unexpected. But I watched this morning, and well, it irritated me. And it's worth pointing out that this is from a left-wing broadcaster as well, so it obviously has a bias towards it. And as I've said on here before, I don't really care about Gaza or Palestine or Israel. It's absolutely nothing to do with me. I don't care either way. But I just thought it was interesting the way that they arranged their arguments and the actual points that they make, particularly how Owen Jones tries to take the conversation somewhere else. But I won't give anything away.
Well, I'm sort of where you at, but when I don't know, there's something in me that when something is being discussed, but it's so blatantly false, that bugs me and it attracts me. I'm like a fly to the bloomin' trap. Like, bzz, do you know what I mean? I'll go straight at it. Like, I can't stand it. Like when they say, "Oh, but Palestine this," and I'm like, "Palestine don't exist." Oh, but the Arab land, no, but it's not though. It's land of the Jews, and that's it. I'm there then. I'll get caught up, and I'm in the trap. And it just bugs me because people lie. And I know it's nothing directly about this country, but there's just something in me that's like, hang on a minute. Like, regardless whether this is our country or not, it's wrong. It's just wrong. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know where I'm coming from, really.
I find it really very irritating when people who are on the so-called left, they like to make derogatory comments about people who are British putting up flags, but have no problem with the Gaza flag whatsoever.
Yeah.
And, you know, they'll display it everywhere. They'll wear T-shirts with it on, things like this, and that isn't a problem. But if British people do it, then suddenly, or rather English people, then that does become a problem. And as for whether or not these protests should be banned, well, I think it depends on how far you want to have free speech. If you're a free speech absolutist, then obviously you wouldn't agree with that. I think that the argument that some people would raise is that these are not just ordinary marches, that they are specifically calling for the destruction of Israel by saying things like from the river to the sea or intifada or any of that sort of stuff, in which case you could argue that they are inciting violence, or the other one they like to use, stirring up racial hatred. Even though it's not actually a race, I think it will be treated as a race in this situation.
Yep. That's my grounds for thinking it should be banned, because anything that's pro-Islam or pro-death to anyone, i.e. especially the Jews, bearing in mind Jesus was a Jew, so I'm a bit confused by it all. The fact that, you know, it's saying like, well, pro-Palestine, and they're cheering on October the 7th for the Palestinian people, that is, and they even followed some of the Hamas in. About 3,000 Palestinians followed Hamas into Israel, apparently, and they're all up for it. So the grounds of what it is and what pro-Palestine represents, I think there is grounds to have it banned. I'm all up for free speech, but if you want to go out and say, even like have all this Islam stuff, you're like, this is a Christian country. Like, if you want to do Islam, you do it, but you just do it on the sly. Like, well, not the sly. That sounds like it's crude, but you know, it is what it is. Do you know what I mean? But you don't go out promoting it in any way because it's a Christian country. Well,
again, it just raises interesting questions about the limits of free speech, because I personally don't think that there should be any of Islamic protests whatsoever. I personally think it should be banned, but that brings up what the fundamental issue is, which is that in a liberal democracy, you cannot outlaw somebody's beliefs. And because of that, that then links into what they're allowed to protest about. And so people would argue that in a liberal democracy, which we claim to be, then they should be allowed to do that because of free speech. They should be allowed to say whatever they like, and it's the right of us, if we don't like it, to protest against that. I mean, I'm not saying I agree with that, but that's how a libertarian would, for example, see it.
Yep. What I don't get is there's certain verses in the Quran and the Hadith that surely if you went to court and said what they said, there surely would have to be some sort of legal ground that you could have that banned, because it doesn't come across like if you just said something randomly like, oh, there's a rock and it's going to shout out and say, hey, whoever, because you don't want to give away because it says, hey, Muslim, but you'll say, hey, you, oh, there's a Jew hiding behind me, come kill him. Someone will go, you can't say that. And then you go, well, actually, it's calling out to a Muslim to kill the Jew. That's in like the Quran or the Hadiths or wherever it is, he'd be
Yes,
like, "What?"
Yeah. No, I absolutely agree, and I have thought about this actually. I don't know if it would be possible, but I have thought about this. That yes, if somebody is committing a crime, usually a murder, let's be honest about it. Although obviously rape is quite rife as well. And if it is influenced by that particular text, then looking at that specific part in the text that influenced it, and being able to say that that is causing racial hatred or causing violence or causing, you know, whatever crime, if that link is direct, then I think that would be grounds for legally banning it.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure how the law actually works in that regard. Someone that probably would know is Natasha, because she's a barrister, of course.
Yeah. I think it would be. I mean, if I had the money or the means, I'd take something like Islam to court and say, hang on a minute, get all the appropriate verses and this and that, and say, hang on, how can this be whatever? And I mean, there is ridiculous amounts of footage on X where you got all the people in the mosques saying, like, you know, oh, there's one saying, like, oh, Dutch women. A bloke is actually saying Dutch women, the way they dress and that, they ask for it. So, yeah, just go out and grape them. You're like, you what?
Absolutely.
Their whole, their brains are just.
Well, there's a way about, I'm sure you've seen it, and most people will recognize this as well. It's not a stereotype. There's a particular way that they have these men. There's a sense of arrogant entitlement that they have, and this sort of sense of superiority that they think they have over other people. And it's just what I would describe a really, really shitty attitude that they have. Very, very macho, very argumentative. And it's just completely removed from how British men speak to each other or speak to women.
Yeah, it is. There's just, I don't know if it's something to do with the fact that they're created through incest and their IQ levels that damaged or what, or
well,
I don't know.
Professor Ed Dutton would probably agree with that one, yes. And certainly I think for certain communities that absolutely is the case. I don't think we can say it's the case for every community, but it probably is.
Yeah, it just bugs me, absolutely bugs me. So this is Owen Jones then, and here obviously he's talking with this. Is this the Lewis Goodall, is it?
Yeah, Lewis Goodall.
And then obviously I assume I could just fly through that. Yeah, so Natasha, then Owen Jones. Oh yeah, then they're on the screen together, I suppose, having their little bit of banter. Okay, cool. Right, okay,
I think it's also worth pointing out about Owen Jones that not only does he have probably one of the most punchable faces you've ever seen, but a few years ago somebody did actually punch him in the face outside a pub in London. And I would just like to congratulate that man for his services to the country.
That's good. Yeah, I'm sorry, I thought you were someone else, mate. Yeah, right. Yeah, I've done a video with him before saying about him where, like, some of the stuff he comes out with, he's on another level. And I think he's like with Piers Morgan or something. He's talking, and I'm like, he's actually saying it with that much conviction, but it's so wrong. It just, I'm like, how can you be that deluded? And he's giving it all that, like, gays for Palestine or something. And like, they're going to kill you, mate.
Yeah, I know. He is on another level. He really is.
Yeah, he blooming is. Right. What we do then, obviously, it's 17 minutes. So obviously, as and when you just say when, and I'll pause it, or unless I pause it at the same time because we're thinking the same things. But let's wait, ladies and gents. Oh, volume up. Right, this is Owen Jones and Natasha Hausdorff. Is that your surname? Hausdorff?
Yeah.
I don't want to get her name wrong because she's obviously going to be a legend because she's on the same side as us. But right, let's watch this, ladies and gents, and we will stop it. And Jake and I will ruin it by keep jumping in and saying what we want to say.
Well, with the appalling rise in anti-Semitic violent incidents that we are seeing, which is clearly on the rise in the UK, 2025, the most dangerous year for British Jews in terms of anti-Semitic attacks on record, there is more and more focus once again, not least because the Prime Minister has brought it into play, and the Leader of the Opposition, Kemi Badenoch, on the role of marches for Gaza. Some people have called them hate marches with regards to what is said on them. There is the allegation, we heard it from Heidi Alexander this morning, the Transport Secretary, that they have a radicalizing effect against Jewish people. This is, of course, something much contested, not least by some Jews themselves who are on the marches. Let's get a conversation about this going with Natasha Hausdorff, barrister at Six Pump Court Chambers, legal director at UK Lawyers for Israel Charitable Trust, and Owen Jones, you'll know, of course, Guardian columnist, who himself has attended some of the marches. Thanks so much for joining us both this morning. Natasha, can I just start with you? What do you say to the argument that, although, of course, some appalling things are said on these marches, and it is not uncommon to hear appalling things said on marches, it would be an infringement on our rights to protest too grave to prohibit them?
Well, I disagree. And of course, at the centre of this is a balancing act, but it's one that has been pretty controversial since these marches, and I would call them hate marches for reasons I'd be happy to explain, since they began over 2.5 years ago. I remember actually being in a panel with Lord Ken MacDonald and Jonathan Hall KC, the independent review of counter-terror legislation, already in November 2023. If you can cast your mind back to that time. And the general consensus, I have to say, on the panel is that the police weren't doing enough. I certainly have not accepted throughout this period that there were simply insufficient powers. I know we've heard from police commissioners all over the country complaining that they need to be given more powers by legislation in Parliament. But the fact of the matter is we saw a complete change, at least to an extent, in the way that these marches were being policed with respect to this incitement and these vile calls for genocide against Jews after the horrendous attack on Yom Kippur on Manchester Jews.
She raised a good point there, which is that about the policing of these events. And I personally think that they should be policed like the Epsom protest was, with people in riot gear. I think they should have the water cannons and the horses, and they should just get rid of them. But what she mentions there is actually quite important because, like many people here, I like to have a look at some of the protests online. Not that I would ever attend one, so I don't like the crowds, but I like to watch them. And there definitely has been an increase in the police pushback against these sort of type of protests, I would say, over the last sort of 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah. Do you think, like, because obviously we're talking, I assume, constables or whatever, and I'll say it properly, I won't say it how we normally say it, but yes, the constables. But when they're there not doing their job, is that because they're following orders? Or do you think it's because they're there, they've got there, they've been told, you know, you're police officers, you're of the law, right watch, and they literally do not know what to do?
No, that's not a likely thing to happen at all. I think that any operation comes from above. And so, for example, in London, the ultimate person in charge really is Khan. And so that's why it will happen in London. That's why it will happen in Manchester, where you've got Burnham in charge. The same in Birmingham with whoever's in charge there. So I think, because we have to remember that the police force isn't a national force, it's done by county. And so each one is different. And whoever the chief constable is for your area will set the agenda for the way in which your police act. So it will vary. But there's no way they would be sent out somewhere, though, to police something and not know what they are doing. They will have been given instruction.
So do you think that will be from said chief superintendent, or would it be from the chief superintendent who has been spoken to by someone like Sadiq Khan and advised?
That's a good question. I think certainly if we're talking about London, that would be the case, yes. That Sadiq Khan would have advised in this way, I would assume. But I don't think that Sadiq Khan would have any power for anywhere outside of London, though. I don't think even his recommendation would necessarily be picked up by other constabularies, because obviously each county has different concerns.
Yes. Or if Sadiq Khan then spoke to said chief superintendent, Does the chief superintendent have the authority to turn around and say, shut up, we know our jobs, we know the law, we know what's going on, we know what's got to be done, and he can overrule that? Or is it, oh, I'm fearing for my job, so okay, yeah, we're standing, we're protect Islam?
Probably the latter, I would guess. And I mean, somebody like Khan knows what powers he's got. He knows how to control people by, for example, threatening them with racism, that sort of thing. He's somebody who I would imagine what he says goes, and it doesn't matter whether you agree with it or not. You have to do it. And you're quite right in pointing out that it's to do with people's careers, and that's what people are afraid of, their career and their reputation being destroyed.
Yeah, it went through my head. Like, if I was chief superintendent, I'd work, you work your balls off, shall we say, get to such a position. I mean, dream job, from when you're a kid. I always wanted to be a chief superintendent. And then you got some little ratty man, Sadiq Khan, turn around and go, do this or I will label you Islamophobic. And that will stick to you like Velcro, mate.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think it probably works the way it works in schools and any sort of government institution, really, where it's not so much that it's one person says, I want this done. It's more, there's so many different outside influences push the same agenda on you. Like, suddenly there'll be a load of training that you have to do after school, or there'll be a new policy that's introduced, and then another one, and it sort of gradually comes in that way. And that's how it gets to a point where we are now, where all of that stuff has now been embedded, and it's very difficult to try and get out of it now because we didn't realise what was happening when it was happening incrementally. I mean, that isn't to say, though, that there isn't somebody saying, I want this done. I think that is something that is, I think that just satisfies our sort of need for a closure and need for a narrative, and it fits the pattern that we know that we would expect someone to be leading it. But I think it's more the case that it's not at the very top level, it's at the level underneath that, which sort of senior management level. They'll go off on training courses and learn all of this new diversity stuff. They'll come back to their institution, and then because of their job description, they'll have to then implement all of these new changes to show in their job, to show their manager that they're progressing and doing something different within that institution, although it's absolutely ruining it.
Yep. But at least Natasha's on the ball. She did throw in, didn't she, that, oh yeah, they are hate marches, which I can get into if you want me to. So I think she's well versed, obviously well educated, well informed, and I think she's one of those that doesn't turn up with just one argument. Do you know what I mean? I think she has the full package, which makes her impressive.
I agree with that, yeah. And also she's, as I've said many times on here, when people speak, they don't often speak in complete sentences, and she does. And I think she's very, very good at doing that. And the way that she speaks is very, very calm, very measured. And even when she gets irritated, she still keeps that same posture there. And that's what's really, really important when you are in a formal situation like this, a formal discussion, then you have to keep your cool and you have to try and, maintain the moral high ground.
Yeah, well, let's see what she says.
Which was, of course, swiftly followed by the tragic incident, another mass killing of Jews at Bondi Beach. So the change in the police's approach wasn't prompted by a change in legislation, but a change in attitude. And I think your previous caller, Jodie, put it exceptionally in explaining what these phrases mean, something that has been evident to anyone with a familiarity of the Middle East, but of course also to the British Jewish community from the very beginning. And unfortunately, the level of ignorance we have seen in combating these calls for genocide, for the attacking Jews, and of course for globalizing the Intifada, which it's important to note we also saw on the 7/7 bombings.
I love that word, ignorance. That's literally what it is, ignorance. And I think that ignorance has literally created the cesspit that we now have with regards to this anti-Semitism and Jew hatred.
I agree. And look, I think that the thing that really struck me when I watched this morning is I'm pretty sure that throughout the whole thing, nobody actually says who it is that is perpetrating this anti-Semitism.
Yeah.
exactly the same as most people have probably seen the clip on Question Time where the chap says, "Where is that coming from?" to the Green candidate, and she sort of looks dumbfounded, and he keeps asking her, "Where is it coming from?" I think if he'd phrased it just slightly differently, she might have tweaked what he was getting at. But because what he's really saying is, who are the people that are responsible for this anti-Semitism? And everybody knows who it is. They're just not saying it. And it's almost become now, whereas anti-Semitism a few years ago, there was an issue in the Labour Party under Jeremy Corbyn. But I think what we're talking about now is we're talking about Islamic anti-Semitism. And that's the thing that isn't being said. And anti-Semitism has now become a sort of euphemism for Islam. And again, it's just, we shouldn't be having to speak like this. We should be able to come out and say, look, the problem here is that Islamic people hate Jews. They're going out on the street and calling for them to be killed. That's a problem.
Yep.
And it's also just worth pointing out as well, because they'll swap over soon, is remember what the topic of this discussion is, because Natasha has put forward a very good case as to why she thinks these marches should be stopped. And see if Owen does the same thing with his.
Yeah, I've got a interesting. You'll like this. I'm going to quickly just switch. I've got a short that I put up, and believe it or not, it got shadow banned. It's had about 40 views. So everyone that's watching, you have to go and watch it and share it and everything. But I'm going to share it with you now. This one here, because this is me, like literally what we're saying. Like we don't know the root cause. So I actually loaded this up and I put cause ? Unknown. It did say root cause ? Unknown, and then I put the wrong word like Islam. Do you know what I mean? But this I've got Stan watching my own videos, but I'm gonna have to do it for this. But it's quite short. I think it's only like 2 minutes or something. But get the gist, and this is me trying to be funny, and tell me, like, you know, because we don't know the cause, basically, the root cause of all this. Just have no idea, literally no idea. The Nice attack, Muslim. Paris attacks, Muslim. The shoe bomber, Muslim. The Orlando attack, Muslim. The Beltway snipers, Muslim. The Fort Hood shooter, Muslim. The underwear bomber, Muslim. The Westminster attack, Muslim. The Pulse nightclub shooters, Muslim. The 2005 Bali bombings, Muslim. The murder of Lee Rigby, Muslim. The USS Cole bombers, Muslim. The London Bridge attack, Muslim. The Madrid train bombers, Muslim. Charlie Hebdo attacks, Muslim. San Bernardino attacks, Muslim. The Minnesota mall stabbings, Muslim. 7/7 bombers, Muslim. The Moscow theatre attacks, Muslim. The Boston Marathon bombers, Muslim. The Ankara airport attack, Muslim. Manchester Arena bomber, Muslim. Manchester synagogue attack, Muslim. The Pan Am number 103 bombers, Muslim. The Iranian embassy takeover, Muslim. Air France attackers, Muslim. 2002 Bali nightclub, Muslim. The Beirut embassy bombers, Muslim. The beheading of French priest, Muslim. The Buenos Aires bombers, Muslim. The Israeli Olympic team, Muslim. The Beirut Marine bombers, Muslim. The first World Trade Center bombers, Muslim. The beheading of Daniel Pearl, Muslim. Bombay attackers, Muslim. The 9/11 attackers, Muslim. No, the UK government does not know the root cause. It is still unknown. Okay, then.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that. I would agree with that conclusion. I mean, you can't tell from just studying that. And what's more important that we should be discussing is the far-right murder of Joe Cox, the man who drove his van at Muslims and tried to kill them. He might have actually killed some of them. And Anders Breivik, because those are where the real problems are. These far-right who are murdering people up and down the country, even politicians.
Yep, I can't believe that didn't go viral. It literally got shadow banned. I got 40 views. The short before it had like 1,700. The one after it is on about 1,600, and that one's got 40. I'm like, But when I was doing it in my head, I'm like, try not to laugh because it just made me chuckle doing it. And at the end, going, the cause is unknown. I was like, what? All that Muslim.
It's crazy, isn't it? That they claim not to. And we even had the Home Secretary last week coming out and saying, yes, we need to tackle the roots of anti-Semitism. Well, we know what the bloody root is. It's your book.
Oh, I was lost for words. I just thought I'd do that for a giggle. I knew when I'd done it that it was going to get shadow banned, but there's, like I say, I sometimes have to get something out of my system because it's so bloody obvious that it's wrong. Do you know what I mean? So I just had to do it for a giggle. But everyone's got to go like, share, and whatever. I was going to say like, share, and subscribe it, like and share it.
No, it is just really so obvious that it just beggars belief that the people are not coming out and actually saying it, and it makes you wonder why people aren't coming out and saying it when they should, if we've got freedom of speech. Yeah.
So anyway, let's get back to this, and then obviously Owen Jones is popping his head up in a minute. I think, yeah, he is. Oh, that's a shame. Oh, we still got her for a little bit. Oh, we've got her for another 3 minutes, and then it's Owen Jones.
Globalisation of the Intifada doesn't, of course, just include Jews. It includes ordinary British citizens as well. And it's high time we take the proper measures, the Home Office, the police, and also members of the public in calling this appalling.
Did you say pause then, or?
No.
Oh, my bad. I heard a click in my ear roll. I was like, oh, because it's quite loud. Sorry. Like, we shall continue.
Pulling rhetoric out.
I understand that, Natasha. And before I go to, and I just want to push on one thing. But if there can be no doubt that there are some things that are said on these marches that will be appalling, and I'm sure the police ought to deal with them. But if you are a person who feels passionately, does not agree with the idea of genocide against Jews, does not agree with the idea of violence against Jews, indeed you stand.
And if you're passionately about murder and everything like that, then you've got a right to go and murder. You don't have to worry about the law. You've just got this passion.
Indeed, and if you have some sort of fetish for paedophilia, then come and join the Labour Party.
And fiercely against that sort of appalling racism, but you still want to register your profound abhorrence with what the Israeli government is doing in Lebanon and Gaza. If these marches are banned, how are they to do so?
With Base 44, a simple sentence.
I'm not watching it through my
your website.
I think this is perhaps the most critical aspect of our conversation, the most important part of this discussion, which is what the driver of this wave of anti-Semitism that we have seen is. And the critical driver that is not being discussed, Lewis, is the false information being spread regarding Israel. And this is something the government does have powers to do something about. Of course, in a democratic society, people are free to express their views, even if I might consider them to be abhorrent. But there are things the government can do with respect to ministers spreading false information about Israel, which are undoubtedly driving many well-meaning people to attend these marches.
But could it be that things the Israeli government itself are doing are driving people to attend these marches?
Well, there I would actually push back and challenge very strongly, because what I continuously hear on these marches and in the media, the allegations that are supposedly underpinning this action have no basis in reality. They are, if you will, the modern version of the blood libel. Now, you may say to me, well, there are lots of well-meaning people who believe them. I'm sure in the Middle Ages, there were many well-meaning people who'd been deceived, who believed that Jews targeted children to use their blood for religious ritual. That was not the case then. It is not the case now. The fact of the matter is, if we draw up a parallel, perhaps this may assist, Lewis, the Allied forces, of course, in the Second World War killed millions of Germans. Nobody called that a genocide. Nobody called brave RAF pilots conducting bombing raids baby killers. And yet we have these tropes and these blood libels being circulated with a complete refusal to acknowledge, and in many circumstances, I'm sorry to say, broadcast the reality, which is, and I say this as someone who's been on the ground in Gaza, witnessing the measures that the IDF takes, along with members of 6 NATO armed forces, very senior generals, colonels, majors among them.
Natasha, I've got to bring Owen in. I should say, actually, in the Second World War, there were people who criticised British government.
He didn't like that, did he? He did not like what she said.
He is such an arsehole, such a snotty bastard. Look at his face, that sums him up. It really does.
Yeah, it looks like, oh yes, and she's lying, yes.
Yeah, his comments are just absolutely vile. I mean, his bias is really, really clear. And the fact that he then is coming out and joining this latest bandwagon of criticising Churchill for what happened in World War II is really quite sickening. I do find it quite amusing, though, if anybody on here watches Intel Lady. She's very, very good. She does impressions of politicians. Angela Rayner's the best one. And she always takes the piss out of Lewis Goodall and makes out that he's some wimp who is incapable of doing things. When she does an impersonation of Emily Maitlis, who is his friend on the newsagents. He's such a prick, he really is.
Yeah, he's bugging me already. He's literally like, she said her thing, oh, I've got to stop you there. And there is actually that, like basically saying that she's lying. Horrible.
An action in the Second World War, but and in terms of being too extreme, particularly the attacking of civilians and so on. But let's not get distracted by that. Owen.
Attacking us is a world war, mate. Like, gonna drop a bomb? Oh, we can't. There's a street there and it's got a pavement. They didn't think that, did they?
He is referring to the strategic bombing of civilian cities such as Dresden and Hamburg. But as you quite rightly say, this is a war. And if you actually look at the history of civilian killings, it began with the Germans and their devastation of Coventry, which they completely and utterly obliterated.
And obviously London was immune then. So London remained untouched, did it? Because Germany was like, do you know what? I know what they're going to say in years to come. We're not dropping any bombs on London. I know it's a world war, but we're not going to do it because we're the good guys.
Yeah, it's a war. People get killed. That's what happens. That's what you're meant to do, is kill more people than you get killed yourself. That's the whole idea of it. And unfortunately, that's how it's always been and how it's always going to be. And it's unfortunately what is happening in Israel and in Gaza right now is a war, and people do die. And so complaining about it and going out on the streets and shouting global intifada and from the river to the sea isn't going to help anybody. All that's going to do is just piss people off in England, because it's destroying the social cohesion by alerting people's attention to things that have got absolutely nothing to do with us. And I think that's probably why it's used as that example, because it is so far removed, something that we can just import and divide people with.
So if we went to school today, basically what we need to be told is Winston Churchill bad, Adolf Hitler good. Is that what they're saying?
I think that it's moving in that direction. And there certainly was somebody, I can't remember who it was, but he was on Tucker Carlson's show and he did actually put that exact hypothesis forward.
Wow. That's crazy.
I know.
Jesus.
Ridiculous.
I mean, that is some serious, like, shift in the narrative and facts to get that.
It's a complete inversion of reality, which is very interesting, because just bear that in mind when Owen Jones says his first sentence. Yeah, I agree with about that. I agree. They tried to take down our statues, but they didn't manage to get that many down. In the States, there weren't that many down, though, actually, because that's something that I've looked into with my studies, because I've written extensively about the one in Virginia, the Robert E. Lee one. But yes, they did. That's quite right. The tearing down of statues is a destruction of your history.
Yeah.
so that you can then supplant it with something else.
Yeah, lies, propaganda.
Yeah.
It's just like it's literally that is the Islamic narrative. Crazy. So
Yeah, I don't really understand why they're so reluctant to tackle Islam. I think it's just because they've put in place so many stupid things like the ECHR and the Equalities Act that they have essentially castrated themselves. They've taken away all of the powers that they would have had to have dealt with it. I think they do know what the problem is. I mean, they're not stupid. I mean, regardless of their lack of competence at government level, the people who are in the civil service are not stupid. They do understand what is happening, and it does take time to root things out, unfortunately. But there is a big problem in allowing this sort of thing to happen. It's probably to do with money.
Yep, I got Jake. Do you think the government has control? No strings being pulled. Oh, that's a bit open-ended question there. Holy crap!
Well, Parliament has control because Parliament can write rules and it can override rules and it can get rid of laws as well. So they do have power. Yeah. So the Prime Minister does have power in that regard. But of course, there's always going to be people in the civil service pulling the strings to try and make sure that a balance is maintained for diplomacy within, government. And I think that there is definitely a movement, a pro-EU, pro-globalist movement that consists of Blair, Starmer, and also people like Macron, and in the past, Merkel, all of that lot, all of the World Economic Forum group. They all are of the same mindset. But the World Economic Forum doesn't have any actual power, though. It's essentially like a sort of networking place or a training session place.
Yeah.
I don't think that there's someone who has sat down somewhere and said, I want to flood Islam in the UK and this is my plan. I know people have said the Muslim Brotherhood are doing that, and to an extent, maybe they have done some of that. But I don't think that there is a coordinated plan, because I think these coordinated plans would take so much actual coordination that they're just not logistically possible. The same, I would say, for the Arabian society as well.
Yeah, in regards to what Grace did, I think, blimey, we could all be speaking German if it weren't for Churchill. So, not too sure.
Would it be better if we were? We wouldn't have the problems that we've got now.
But we didn't start the war either, did we? Let's be honest.
No, we didn't.
So no matter what you do, people try to find something negative, or you caused the downfall, Churchill. Regardless of everything you've done well, we want to find all the negative. Where does that mindset come from?
And I think you can say that there is a point for the targeting of the civilian cities. I mean, what they did to Dresden was appalling. I mean, they completely firebombed it, created a firestorm that was effectively as bad as what happened in Nagasaki and Hiroshima. It might as well have had the same sort of effect, because the houses were wooden and it was a medieval and a very, very beautiful city. And so that's why we did it, to terrify them into, we can attack anyone at any time, and this is how much damage we can do. It was pummeling them into submission, and unfortunately, for whatever people want to say about it, it was a tactic that worked. And it was also a very dangerous tactic as well. We didn't have the sophisticated aircraft that we have today. I mean, these people were getting shot at constantly and having accidents with instrument failure and all sorts of things. It was extremely dangerous to go on these bombing raids. And the people that did that were incredibly brave. And I'm very proud of the fact that my grandfather was in the RAF. He didn't do any of the bombing raids. He was great. He got stationed in Bermuda in charge of supply coordination. What a great war he must have had.
Yeah. So, I didn't say you said anything against the war. I just said that you're saying some people said, what was it? Some people said that he put us into debt. or whatever. I didn't say anything against you at all, Grace. So yeah, I don't think I need an IQ test yet, but I've definitely checked. My parents were not related in any shape or form.
Mm-hmm. See, Helen's got on the right line where she's put about the Muslim Brotherhood concentrating on a plan and we're paying for it, and a plan that's been honed over centuries. That's where I think we have to make distinctions, because is there actually a written plan? If there is one, how can we then prove that all of the people involved in it are, trying to fulfill this particular plan? Or is it the fact that they have a plan, they've done some things that look like they're contributing towards this plan, therefore they're achieving that plan? Because that's very different. And yep. I don't know the exact balance.
Yep. Yeah. Apology accepted, Grace. That's the thing when people say whatever, you just like misinterpret or whatever. But I think I did interpret correctly, saying that people were saying Churchill put us into debt, wasn't it? I wasn't saying you said. So yeah, it was just a misunderstanding. It's not a problem. It's all good. Yeah, it's crossed wires. Right, let's get on. It's what's his name now coming up in it? Oh, holier than thou. The gay one who wants Islam to take over to kill all the gays.
Jones from The Guardian.
Jones.
You know what the accusation is here? It is that these are hate marches, and you've heard what Natasha has to say. What is your response?
The world's been turned on its head. These are the opposite of hate marches. They're peace marches. They're marches opposed to Israel's...
We just stop it there.
Even I went to... What an absolute prat.
What a wanker.
Peace marches.
I know. It's like when they had the Black Lives Matter ones and they said that they were peaceful demonstrations, when there are people who were rioting in the streets, smashing up city centres in the US, looting places. No, it's peaceful protest. These aren't peaceful protests. It's not peaceful to say that you want the destruction of Israel.
It's fine, Grace. Don't worry. We'll pretend it was never said. It's all good. Don't worry.
It is peaceful if you apply Islamic thinking to it, because of course when everybody's Islamic, then it's peaceful, and that's why it's a peaceful religion.
Death to the Jews, please. Oh, that's so lovely of you. How peaceful you are. So polite. Do you know what I mean? As soon as literally, you must have, as soon as he said, it's a complete opposite. I was literally trying to find the pause button straight away. I was like, mate.
I know. As soon as he opens his gob, you just want to get your fist, shove it in his face.
It will suddenly go off screen. Don't worry, because this is my laptop that way. I've got a big screen here. And if I go that way, it's because I'm headbutting the telly. All right. Oh, Wiz, you're so violent. How dare you?
Genocide against the Palestinian people. It's the...
Any more bloody genocide against the Palestinian people? Mate, that's got to be the biggest, lyingest, propagandist. You're going to get a bloody headbutt to the nose type crap. Like, where is this genocide? Where is it? The population is going up. 5.6 million people live in Palestine. And 40 to 70,000 people, sadly, innocent people, lost their lives. And that was because Hamas and the Palestinians attacked the Jews on October the 7th. So where's the flipping genocide? Yeah, I get irate on that one.
I disagree with that. It's absolutely correct. Where is the genocide? My understanding is that they are fighting a war against Hamas, who attacked them in a brutal orgy of rape and violence on October the 7th. Now, some people might argue that they've gone too far. You can counter that argument by saying, well, that's because Hamas are using people as human shields. They're building their bases underneath schools and hospitals where the Israelis supposed to hit. It's not pleasant, but you expect some collateral damage when there's a war. And yes, there are women and children that have been killed, and there are plenty of women and children who were killed in Israel as well by indeterminate terrorist attacks that have taken place ever since 1947. At least Israel have got the balls to put together a legitimate formal army and actually come out and face you head on, rather than cowardly attacks where people dress up as women and go and blow up bus stops and things like that.
Yep.
They're
Yeah, it doesn't say
fucking
anything.
scum.
What was it? Egypt. That was Christian. That had like 2 million Christians, and there's like 200,000. Nigeria, there's proper genocides going on. Oh yeah,
Yes.
but that's Christian. So shut up.
Yes, exactly. Doesn't count. When does anybody ever talk about the genocide of the Armenians? Never. The Turks won't even admit that they did it.
No, it just happened, mate, overnight. It must have been the wind. Do you know what I mean?
Well, it's because it's allowed in their book.
Exactly. They're doing God's work. They're so holy. They're so righteous. They think murdering and raping and genociding is holy. I mean, that's twisted.
But that is true, though. And me and Pat were talking about this in the chat last week, that when there were the trouble with the Barbary pirates, the Americans found that their navy were getting kidnapped by Barbary pirates. And so George Washington wrote a letter to their diplomat asking them to stop doing this. And the response that came back from the diplomats was, well, it's in their book, or words to that effect. So taking slaves is something they're allowed to do. And so murdering and massacring people is something that they're allowed to do. So we're just supposed to put up with that, are we?
Yeah, maybe show them the way, red carpet. I don't know. Right, what's this idiot going to say next? I did to think hopefully we'll get more than 9 seconds into a sentence.
Expression of opposition to Gaza being wiped from the face of the earth. Over 100,000 people being killed, according to multiple academic studies.
Lie. Absolute 100% lie. There's absolutely nowhere saying 100,000. And why is Gaza in the situation it's in? Oh, let's not bring up October the 7th because Israel used their right to retaliate to the act of war.
But it didn't start on October the 7th. It started in 1947. Didn't you know that?
Yeah, we've got to go back and back and back and the Ottoman Empire and it started here and there and all. No, but what Hamas done on October the 7th, what is that if not starting a new war, a new genocide?
The most appalling, and I'm going to say paramilitary because that's the only way you can really describe them, I suppose, but it is the most appalling paramilitary invasion I've ever seen in all of my years. Worse than anything the IRA did, and what they did was despicable. This was just a full-on invasion and assault designed to kill and terrify as many people as possible, and it was absolutely disgusting. I mean, if they'd gone in there and they had just attacked an Israeli barracks and just attacked the IDF, then you could say, all right, they were legitimate targets if you are of that mindset. But killing families, kidnapping babies.
Freedom fighters, though, mate. It's all in a good cause.
That's right, freedom fighters, yeah. They're oppressed people.
Yeah, that's it. They're poor people. Yeah, don't worry. Just throw the dead body of a girl with all her legs twisted out on the back of a truck, and we just wheel her around and drive her around, let everyone see her, and like she was at a festival. So legitimate target if you want freedom.
The one that always got me with October the 7th, and I'm sure people will have seen this clip. It was a clip where there's a sort of whatever vehicle it is they've got, some sort of Jeep thing. They're driving it into the center of a city, and they open the back of it, and a woman gets pulled out of it. And you can see she's got on like a pair of joggers, something like that. But you can see at both the back and the front, around the middle area, is heavily stained with blood. And it just made me feel physically sick. Just thinking what these bastards have done and what they're going to do. Just, these people are just the worst of the worst, most sadistic animals imaginable. And then once you've imagined that, that isn't anywhere close to what they're like.
Makes me laugh you saying that because, mate, they want freedom. What do you think they're going to do?
Well, exactly. They want freedom. They want their land back, which they will make into a glorious paradise, just like they were going to before Israel came and took it all away from them.
Yeah, that holy Jewish land given to them by God, as written in the Quran and the Bible. the Jewish land. Every time you dig, you find Jewish artifacts, not anything to do with Islam. Yeah, their land. Yeah, all right. It's mate,
lovely people, aren't they? That's why Jordan won't let them in, and Egypt won't let them in, and pretty much all the Arab nations won't let them in, because the people from that country have been brainwashed over a period of decades. And I think that for many of the people who live there in such a small community, all they've known is this war. And it's become so embedded within their psyche that it has become an intergenerational thing. And so they are fighting just because their parents did, and their parents fought before them. And it's a bit like what we saw in Northern Ireland, but taken up massive levels. It'll take years to get rid of that out of their thinking.
Yep, but I believe many years ago, Jordan did allow some into their land, and they started doing the suicide attacks and that. That's why they won't. They'll be like, no, we've done it before, and they're just horrible, horrible people. We don't want them.
It's true.
So that's basically, live and learn. And here we are going, come on dinghies, we'll give you a hotel. Oh, here's a diagram. Here's your local park where you can find mothers with their children. Take your pick. You can have the mother or the child, either. You know, your ideology tells you don't need permission or consent. You freaking retards.
And also, if I were in charge of Israel and I wanted to commit a genocide of all of the Palestinians, I wouldn't go about doing it the way that they're going about doing it. There's a much easier way to do it. They've got nuclear weapons. All they need to do is just fire one at Gaza. I mean, the surrounding area is mostly sort of scrubland and desert, so it's not going to affect the Israelis too much. They could easily do it. Why haven't they done it? Because it's not a genocide.
Because they screwed up, because they were phoning people and doing leaflet drops and sending text messages telling them to move. I mean, what idiots. How do you do a genocide if everyone's running away? Oh, my.
Oh, dear. That's just one sentence in.
Right, prick. What else you got to say for yourself? And I'm looking at Owen when I said that, not you.
Not Owen Wilson.
Not Owen Wilson. It's a shame that Owen Wilson has got such a name as this pillock. Do you know what I mean? But oh my god, I dread to think what he's going to say. Right, I'm going to hit play button, but bated breath, mate. Oh,
probably won't.
She says genocide. I mean, just be clear. Natasha's making it clear that her view is scrutiny and opposition to Israel's crimes is anti-Semitism, and she has herself said, I've read her article in The Spectator, that accusations of genocide are a blood libel. Omar Bartov is an Israeli academic. He's the Dean's Professor of Holocaust and Genocide Studies at Brown University. He says, I have been teaching classes on genocide for a quarter of a century. I can recognize one when I see one. Amos Goldberg, Professor of Holocaust History at the Department of Jewish History and Contemporary Jewry at the Hebrew University of Jerusalem. I can go on. There's a whole list, but I should say, of Israel.
But there's not, though, is there? Because even if 100,000 died out of 5.6 million, that still wouldn't be a genocide, even though you doubled the number to fit your narrative, you prat.
Israeli specialists who dedicate their lives to scrutinising and researching genocide. Thousands of Jewish people attend these protests. They hold placards asserting their Jewish identities. They wear their kippah. They wear Orthodox Jewish clothing. It includes Holocaust survivors like the 88-year-old Stephen Kaposh. I interviewed Rabbi Herschel Gluck last week, who received an OBE for his work on intercommunal relations. He's the chair of the Shomrin, which protects Jewish civilian communities in northeast London. He said to me that so many Jews attend these protests that he thinks it's a higher proportion of any minority, any community in this country, including Muslims. Jewish people are the co-organisers of the protest.
What is this bloke on?
There are not more Jews going on these protests than anybody else. I mean, there aren't enough Jews for a start. There's fuck all of them.
0.4% population of the UK.
Yeah. What he has done, though, that is quite good of him to have done, is he has done his homework here. So he is referencing studies. He is referencing academics. He's not pointing out the fact that there are people that have an extreme left-wing bias. He leaves that part out of it. But he does at least come with some preparation done here. It's interesting that he mentioned having read her article in The Spectator, because Natasha will come back with something to do with that. But I wasn't impressed at all by him here, but I at least thought, well, for once, he's come on with something prepared.
But,
so I'll give him that. But
that's like you saying to me, like, you know, do whatever. So I'll go away to do my research. I will look for people who agree with me. So my sources, who I can then say, oh, Mr. Zebedee said blah, blah, blah. Mr. Banana Man said this, and this person said this. And you're like, yeah, but those sources are wrong.
Yeah. Or it would be like if somebody were to say to you, oh, Spurs are shit, they can't score a goal to save their life, and then put together a video showing them missing loads of chances. I mean, what they were saying was actually true, but it's not showing you an accurate representation of what is really happening. It's just showing you a biased representation, and that's what he's doing here effectively.
Basically, thanks, Phil. Thanks for the 5 Wizardware memberships. I hope the target hits people that are in the chat. That'd be cushy. I think Pouncey got one yesterday, so
he did. But there is one other thing though about Owen Jones, which is he's incredibly biased, but he seems to think that he's right, to the point where, and you alluded to this earlier, where it's almost like his logical reasoning goes out the window, because what he's doing is making belief-based claims. So he genuinely believes that this is a genocide. Therefore, any evidence that he looks for is evidence that confirms that this is a genocide. And so that then creates that self-fulfilling loop of, you know, everything that he reads, everything that he encounters supports what he is saying. So he doesn't like it when people criticize it, because he can't comprehend that he might be wrong.
Yeah. So Owen Jones could be a bit egotistical and a bit of a narcissist then.
A little bit, yeah.
Yes, it includes the National Secretary of the Palestine Solidarity Campaign. Every single protest has Jewish speakers. But what is very clear here is Natasha believes that any scrutiny, any opposition to Israel's crimes is unacceptable, is essentially an attack on Jewish people. And she wants to shut that opposition.
She did not say that at all. She didn't say that any criticism of Israel is an attack on all of the Jewish people. She's quite specifically mentioned hate speech and hate marches. And so he's trying to twist the narrative there.
Why do they do that, though? They literally... Is that... what's it called? Is it gaslighting, or is that straw manning? Gaslighting, I suppose, because they're trying to...
Yeah, it's gaslighting.
Yeah, I always get confused with those two, and I have to look them up now and again to refresh my brain, because everyone keeps going, oh, you're straw manning, oh, you're gaslighting, and I'm like, hang on, I'm getting all confused again. Like, my little brain can't handle it.
I mean, I'm not overly keen on those terms. They're more sort of recent sort of social media terms than actual linguistic terms. But a straw man is when you put up a sort of a false, not a false argument, a really weak sort of argument, like a what about argument would be doing that sort of thing. Well, he isn't doing that there. He's misrepresenting what she actually said to twist it, to try and make it look like she said something different. And that's because he is so convinced about what he is saying is right that he believes that she is doing that.
Down, and I'm afraid to say that's not going to happen as long as the Israeli state exterminates Palestinians, commits war crimes, cooks children alive.
Here he goes. What do they say in the Muslim school? Accuse those of doing what you're doing. Oh, and here we go.
Live in their tents with their missiles, starves people. We are going to keep on marching, and it is turning the world on its head to say that opposing murdering people, that opposing killing Palestinians is hatred and extremism. And if we're going to talk about, just finally, what's inflammatory, you can support openly Israel wiping Gaza from the face of the earth, and we're having no debate or discussion about how that's extreme or dangerous or hateful. But if you march opposing civilians being murdered alongside your Jewish fellow citizens, that makes you a hateful, dangerous extremist. The world's turned on its head and people don't buy it.
Natasha, you've heard the charge there, which is that you are simply trying to shut down scrutiny of Israel and what it's done in Gaza and is doing in Gaza. What is your response?
Still doing everything manually in Excel?
Wait for the advert because I'm not watching it through Brave. My bad.
Well, he's certainly not familiar with my work and my commentary on this, and certainly perhaps as unfamiliar with the facts and the reality on the ground. What we've heard in these series of projections and ill-informed ones as the rhetoric of a Hamas propaganda machine. This is an internationally prescribed terrorist organization that is putting out fake numbers, fake casualty statistics in seeking to capture the minds of unsuspecting people like Owen Jones. And plainly, they've been extremely successful, but it doesn't take away from the reality. And these so-called genocide scholars that have been quoted, it's a shame that many of them, or in fact all of them that were listed, don't seem to appear prepared to debate these issues in public. It is public discourse. It is opportunities like this. Well, certainly not with me and colleagues who have put out contrary, strong contrary examinations. Well, I'd be happy to go up against any of them, but I can.
Good. Well,
no,
look,
I'm sorry.
Natasha,
I didn't interrupt. In fact, I was faded down. So let me continue, please. What we have heard is that manifestation of the blood libel: 100,000 killed. By whom? We've heard this consistent attempt to blame Israel for all of these ills, when in fact the reality of the situation is that it is Hamas and those other internationally prescribed terrorist organizations. Let's not forget the IRGC is now being supported on the streets of London in similar hate marches. It is these organizations that these misguided individuals are marching to protect and defend, who are responsible for the humanitarian crisis, for the killing that Owen and others so pretend to lament. And it's the pretense here that is most damaging. That is what is having this misinformation spreading effect. If we are to engage with the reality that the starvation was just thrown out, we have put out report after report assessing the levels of aid that were facilitated in the Gaza Strip and proving each and every one of these tropes wrong.
Natasha, Natasha, let Owen respond to what you've said.
That's
twice he's interrupted her, but not him.
I was just going to say that exactly that point. Yeah, notice that has happened. And also notice that when she spoke, she rebutted all of the things that he said. She did it calmly, she did it politely, she didn't raise her voice, and she didn't, unlike Owen Jones, use emotive language, which he did when he referred to cooking babies or whatever it was that he said, which was a deliberate emotive effort. So you can see that there's a very different style between the two of them. And regardless of whose side you're on, even just looking at it as a neutral, you can see that she is far more composed at this point.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I mean, she comes across as a lot more I won't say professional because they're debating, but in this debate she comes across as a lot more like realistic, like true. What am I looking for? Because when Owen starts talking, something like just the way he's talking, I'm just like, yeah, but I don't think he could back that up really. Like, say if it went to a court of law, could you back up what you just said? No. And she called him out saying like, yeah, but I've approached these people and said, come on, let's debate what you're saying, because you just happen to be Owen Jones's sources and they're refusing. So she looks like, I don't know, like not even prepared, I suppose. An honest debater. I mean, imagine that, an honest debater. But I don't know. There's a word I'm looking for. But she's it. He's not.
I wouldn't say a master debater because that could be misconstrued. But I would say that she's got integrity. Is probably the best way of putting it. That we can believe in what she's saying.
Yes.
And that she's trying to be objective here. In that she's saying, look, yes, you picked that source, but. So she's actually criticising the source. She's not criticising the fact or even what the point of that is being made. She's actually attacking the source itself, whereas he is attacking her personally.
Yes. Oh, how you doing, Nikki? Hope you're well.
Hello, Nikki.
Yeah, I think, like, I don't know. She just, like, if I didn't know who either of these were, and you're the beginning of a process of learning the facts, say, and you sat and watched this, she definitely seems a lot more believable. Like the way she's talking, what she's saying, it seems like she's got something behind her. Whereas what he's saying, and going, "Oh, this bloke said this and this bloke said that," and blah, it seems a bit more like whataboutery or something. Do you know what I mean? It just doesn't sit right. And you'd think, let me look in. Even now, I feel a bit like when he said certain names, I was like, "Oh, I wonder if I could look them up quickly because I want to double check." Because I don't know, he just comes across as little bit too like fake.
Yeah, absolutely, and performative, and she mentioned the word pretense as well, and she's got his number and his card marked. She knows exactly what the score is with him, and it's a bit like what I was trying to say the other day. It's if you can say something in a very convincing, confident way, then people are far more likely to believe it. And Owen Jones just takes it up to the next level with too much emotion that makes him come across as performative, even if he actually isn't. But I do think he is.
See, there's something even telling me, right? Because I know what he's like in his mind, and I've seen him, and he's got his subscribers, and he's got his YouTube, his ex followers, and all that. He's the sort of person that would probably not believe anything he's saying himself, but he knows that narrative would be a payday.
Yeah, wouldn't surprise me in the slightest.
Yeah,
wouldn't surprise me in the slightest. No, I think you could well be right there.
And yeah, he is dangerous, Nikki. Yeah, definitely. Let's see. She's owning him at the moment in my book.
Okay. I mean, look, you made a completely outrageous claim that I'm part of the Hamas propaganda machine. There's absolutely no basis or evidence for that. And if we're going to say that anyone who says that huge numbers of people have been murdered, exterminated, killed, whatever you want to say, by the Israeli state, The Economist backed Israel's assault on Gaza. They did their own detailed estimate of the number of people killed in Gaza, and their upper limit, and these are out of date, this was a year ago now, was 110,000 people. If we are to believe my esteemed guest, The Economist magazine is now part of the Hamas propaganda machine. As regards the do you know what? I rest my case on
multiple occasions.
Natasha, you objected to me interrupting you. All I would say is, Natasha, please go ahead, carry on arguing that the likes of The Economist are part of the Hamas propaganda machine, because all you are doing is discrediting your argument. And I would just add, by the way, you mentioned, for example, about these academics like Omar Bartov, the Dean's Professor of Holocaust and Genocide Studies at one of the most prestigious universities on the face of the earth. He dedicates his life, every single day of his life, studying genocides. He is one of the most preeminent scholars of the Holocaust. He knows this subject in a way you, a spokesperson for a pro-Israel lobbying organization, does not.
No, it's not.
And I'm afraid to say, you can say, by the way, I disagree with him, I don't think they're right, but you are going to have to stretch everyone's credulity to say that Israeli scholars of genocide who dedicate their lives to studying genocide are talking total arrant nonsense. You must have to accept that there must be some legitimacy in that argument. The truth is, Natasha, Israel has committed a live stream genocide. It has butchered vast numbers of people in front of the whole world. And that's why in America, for example, 2/3 of Jewish Americans think Israel's committed war crimes. 40% think it's committed genocide. Half of all Jewish Americans under 35 believe it's committed genocide. You would have to then say they're part of the Hamas propaganda machine.
Natasha, let me just put that. See, I mean, it is true. I mean, the polling that Owen Jones has quoted there, we see that. Is it your contention that vast swathes of the Western population, they are all too victims of the Hamas propaganda machine?
Well, I don't know how reflective these polls are of the reality, and I think there are multiple reasons we need to treat them with care. But yes, this is the center of the point that I am making, which is that this propaganda from internationally prescribed terrorist organizations that, you know, Owen Jones has given another glorious rendition of rabbiting off, is what has been adopted by a great deal of the mainstream media, not to speak, of course, of the social media accounts that are spreading these harmful tropes and untruths about the only Jewish state. The reality is, and there is information out there which I have published, including with colleagues at UK Lawyers for Israel and many others who are engaged in this subject, that prove all of this wrong. The problem with proving a negative, of course, is that those that are putting out these falsehoods can't be bothered to engage with it. And it is the oldest trick in the book to say, look at this Jew who is criticizing Israel, when those criticisms
it is
are not
true, isn't it,
criticisms,
Natasha, that being anti what the Israeli government is doing is not the same as anti-Semitism.
This?
3 times now. 3 times he's cut her off.
Yeah, he's got all that. Like when he wants to come out with his question or whatever, it's always at the expense of her. Yet, again, she's remained calm.
Exactly. And Owen Jones was throwing ad hominems at her, and she didn't do that. Yes, she did. She slightly played up to it by saying that you rabbited out. I mean, that verb choice there is being sarcastic, but that's the only sign of irritation that she's actually showing. Once again, she's just taken what he said, turned it around and put it back on him, and turned his argument against him, like she did just then, saying this: the oldest trick in the book is to find a Jew who criticizes other Jews.
Yeah, that's basically what it is.
And all he can come back with is just getting angry with her and insulting her.
Yep, and now my internet's frozen. How cool's that? That's professionalism at your doorstep there.
I agree with CL. I don't think it's water in that flask either. It's probably spunk.
He's probably doing his usual. He's probably got his little bit of powder in there.
Yeah. Yes, I wouldn't want a latte from him.
Yeah, exactly. What is going on? Why is this? It's been fine all the way through. What's it doing? As far as I know, there shouldn't be anyone on the internet either. On too far back. Is that the? Well, this is why I use Brave, because it doesn't have any adverts in it whatsoever.
Yeah.
But oh, that's annoying. Literally got 2 minutes left.
We never get through these videos.
Oh no, let me refresh it. We'll have to refresh it and see what it does. That's about somewhere near it. This is technology at its best. Blame the whiz and dodgy internet. I've been looking at other internet as well, but
look at that picture of Owen Jones' face.
I'll tell you, yeah, he's definitely accepting. He's waiting for something to get put in his mouth, isn't he?
Definitely is, yes. Dear, they could have picked a better thumbnail. Yes, Phil, I do have books on Amazon, but don't bother buying them. They're rubbish.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, I'm thinking of doing that. The Wizard book on Amazon. I was reading whatever. Some people are saying, yeah, do it on Amazon KDP, whatever it is. Other people are saying not. And I'm like, oh. And then there's this thing about AI being used on books, and it's saying that a book's AI, but the book isn't AI written. Do you know what I mean? And I better have a look into that, because that makes me nervous, because I'd hate for my work to be called AI. So I had to go on something like Grammarly or whatever it was. And guess what it did? It said, like, I put up the first bit, and it said, yeah, and it put my name, my address, the title of the book, my phone number, and my author name, all that it was written by AI.
Well, I don't know, because I uploaded the stuff that I did. It probably about in the summer last year, or maybe a bit after that, September time, and all I can really remember is it being a pain in the arse to set it up. But I'm sure it asked if it was AI rather. It said, "Have you used AI in creating this?" rather than it actually found it in there for you. It was a bit of a pain in the arse, but I just did it just to see if it was possible for people to buy books and not have any promotion or advertising whatsoever. And it is possible to do that. It doesn't sell very many, but it's possible. And it probably is the best outlet that you can do. And let's be honest, it's a nice feeling to get through the post a book that you've written yourself.
Yeah. And you can actually order it as a paperback or hardback. Imagine that, holding your own book.
But order one first, though, before you put it on sale. Make sure that you do that, because you can then check to see if it's printed the way that you wanted it to print. Like, for example, when I did my first one, it had all the formatting had changed, and so the titles were sort of half cut off at the top, so I had to redo it all, which was a pain.
No way. Yeah, it said like EPUB and all that, but it makes me nervous, all that sort of stuff. So
yeah,
I don't know. Right, let's listen.
Before I forget, I have to say I agree with Slim. Yes, Natasha is a very fine woman.
Yes, I'm trying to think where we got up to. I'm just having a quick scan here because that bloke interrupted. There he is, isn't he? So
slimy little punks.
Yeah, he is, isn't he? I'm not a fan. Oh my God, don't tell me. Oh, that's right then. I thought I just screwed it up then. I've reopened it, but it's on Brave as well, so there shouldn't be any adverts.
See that? Is it your contention that vast swathes of the Western population, they are all too victims of the Hamas propaganda machine?
Well, I don't know how reflective these polls are of the reality, and I think there are multiple reasons we need to treat them with care. But yes, this is the center of the point that I am making, which is that this propaganda from internationally prescribed terrorist organizations that, Owen Jones has given another glorious rendition of rabbiting off, is what has been adopted by a great deal of the mainstream media, not to speak, of course, of the social media accounts that are spreading these harmful tropes and untruths about the only Jewish state. The reality is, and there is information out there which I have published, including with colleagues at UK Lawyers for Israel and many others who are engaged in this subject, that prove all of this wrong. The problem with proving a negative, of course, is that those that are putting out these falsehoods can't be bothered to engage with it. And it is the oldest trick in the book to say, look at this Jew who is criticizing Israel, when those criticisms
it is
not
true, isn't it, Natasha, that being anti what the Israeli government is doing is not the same as anti-Semitism.
Well, this is the critical distinction. I have not heard these individuals raising aspects of Israeli government policy that they disagree with. I have heard them putting out falsehoods and saying that is the reason that they object to Israel. That is when anti-Zionism and anti-Semitism are ultimately the same thing. It is the modern acceptable form. But it's not criticism of Israel to say that you object to things that the Israeli government has done when it hasn't done them.
I think what we all need to be doing right now is demarcating Jewish people and the actions of the Israeli state. That is what anti-Semites...
Did you see that? They actually silenced her, didn't they? They didn't do it to his mic. Look, when he starts talking, she comes back in, but she's like talking, but the
government has done when it hasn't done them.
I think what we all need to be doing right now is demarcating Jewish people and the actions of the Israeli...
She's trying to talk. She's been silenced, whereas he wasn't.
Yeah, I didn't notice that before. Good spot, yes.
So there you go. That shows what narrative they want pushed.
Israeli state. That is what anti-Semites want us to do. They want us to conflate Israel's crimes with the Jewish people. And it's also what people lobbying and supporting the state of Israel want us to do. Now, as regards, by the way, the figures, The Lancet, the most prestigious medical journal on the face of the earth, they estimated that by January 2025, well over a year ago, 83,000 people had been killed. They said that was a very conservative estimate, and that obviously excludes all the deaths in the year and nearly a half since. We can listen to the
Hamas.
figures of UK lawyers for Israel, or we can listen to Israeli genocide scholars and the preeminent medical journal on earth, and we can say, well, actually, we have a democratic right in this country, which our ancestors fought for at great cost.
Very briefly,
and we should be able to protest the murder of Palestinians.
Sure. Is it not fair enough to say that one of the things that we are often told, especially by the left, is that with regards to racism, perception matters. It is to some extent in the eye of the beholder how people feel. And you cannot deny that at least elements of these marches are making many of our fellow citizens, British Jews, feeling extremely uncomfortable, indeed scared. Briefly, could you answer that point?
There's no doubt at all that there's massive fear at the moment amongst Jewish people, not least because of the rise in violent attacks. What I would say is I would hope they would listen to Jewish protesters who join these protests, who help organise these protests, who speak at every single protest. They stand in the best tradition of Jewish people who have always been overrepresented in struggles for liberation and for equality, which has often driven anti-Semitism, I would say. So all I would say is, please speak to Jewish protesters, speak to the likes of Namod, who organised Jewish people in this country to oppose Israel's genocide, and listen to Israeli scholars of genocide as well.
Natasha Hausdorff there, barrister at Six Pump Court Chambers, legal director at UK Lawyers for Israel Charitable Trust. Owen Jones from
No One Cares. Just
and
saying.
Also, where's the chance for Natasha to summarise at the end?
Yeah. Oh. No.
So I think
they don't like her narrative.
No, they didn't like her narrative whatsoever. And I think you could see that Owen Jones tried to completely derail the conversation by making it about Israel being absolute monsters and this genocide bullshit that he comes out with. Whereas the point of the conversation was to stop hate marches. The conversation is about what's happening here on our streets.
Yep. You're right on that one. He definitely went sort of left at the trap at lights and thought, oh yeah, we can use this opportunity to dig at Israel and make out that even the Jewish people are against Israel, even though they're not.
Well, you think you have to do that really, because the alternative is he's then got to try and justify the actions of Hamas effectively, which he's not going to want to have to do that. So instead he'll attack Israel.
It's just mental, absolutely mental. But I can't stand that bloke. But yeah, that's why he just talks crap. Like if I could actually look some of that stuff up, I bet Harper be even more than Harper. What he's saying is just crap. So
I'm quite sure that anyone could sit there with Google or AI and put in there all of that information, and they can find out a variety of different sources, and from that they can work out what they think the real number is. My understanding is that it's about 70,000, but I have no idea. We can certainly assume that whatever Owen Jones was saying was the top ranked estimates. And yes, thank you very much, Defil. You're a very good man. Although I haven't got a clue how any of that works, and I don't use social media either, so I don't know. I don't think it's set up for payments, to be honest. But I'll have a look as well. But it's very kind. Thank you very much.
When you set it up for payments, it will then do it. That's what I looked at. Remember what I said to you? I went to look to make a donation, and it says like, oh yeah, if you do this, once they set up payments, then it will be done, and then you pay whatever monthly.
That's very kind of you, Phil. Thank you very much. Much appreciated.
There you go. Israeli genocide scholars don't exist because Israel genocide doesn't exist.
Yeah, actually, that's the point. If there are scholars of Israeli, specifically genocide committed by Israelis, then there can't be much of a body of work because that genocide only started on October the 7th, didn't it? Or are they trying to say that it's been a genocide ever since 1947?
Well, who are we to say? Who are we to say? Well,
at least Owen Jones didn't throw a strop and walk off this time.
Yeah, we want Gurnin from the said illegal substances. He's an absolute idiot.
He really is. I think that if they'd had more time in a proper head-to-head, then he'd have had the floor wiped with him by her. I think she's far more knowledgeable than he is. He's just cherry picked a load of things. In fact, to be honest, he probably hasn't even done that. He's probably got a researcher who does it for him.
Yep. And then he's got all his notes around him because he doesn't know it off by heart, whereas she was just saying it, which also. So yeah, that's what I was saying, Phil. Yeah, it says all that, and then when Jake enables payments, that's correct. Yes.
Well, that's very kind. Thank you very much for being a supporter.
See, after all that with like a 17-minute video and that, I need to find one for Thursday. So
sure
it worked out. That Thursday evening was the most successful video of the week because I was getting between 200 and 300 views on the lives, where obviously YouTube's decided to slash it by 2/3. But it was just over 600 for the evening one, so that actually done better. So there you go. Good. Maybe it's because of the time or something, but YouTube's definitely playing silly buggers and all. But yeah, I need to find a video for Thursday. There's a few that I've seen that are quite interesting, but one of them's like an hour long, and I'm like, no, we'll be here at fucking 3 a.m, mate.
Yeah. I'm in a bit of two minds at the minute. I've been looking at, as you know, I've been looking into the Rendlesham case a lot, and I've got a lot of stuff that I've written about it, and I'm in two minds as to whether or not just to do a big long essay or whether or not to do it as a book. But I'm a bit reluctant to go into the books with UFOs because, as you've rightly said, there's a lot of arseholes out there who are really snotty about that sort of thing, and that puts me off. So, but I am going to put something out to do with it.
But can you not do like a series on Substack so you can sort of divide it up once you've written it, and like you can do it up as chapters and then put it in its own section?
You can actually, yes. And I did do something like that before. I did one on King Arthur that looked through, traced his history. And what I noticed is that the numbers were quite good for the first one. Then they dropped off in the second, and by the third one, there was only about 5 people actually read it. So I suppose if it interests people, I think I'll probably put something up on Substack first just to test the waters and see what reaction it gets.
Yeah. Thing is, like again, like even what I'm saying, what I might be doing, like have a look at Amazon KDP and whacking it up on there. You got nothing to lose.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That maybe I could do that because it doesn't bring in a lot. I mean, obviously, if you sell a lot of copies, it will. But for example, last week I got 20-something quid from them, which isn't very much. But last week, when I had only 30 quid, that was quite a bonus to get.
Yep. That's what I mean. Every penny counts, mate.
And
that's what I'm like on here.
Yes, I was looking last night at Project Condign, the official MOD study, and also I looked at the US studies, Blue Book, etc. And he's absolutely right about that. I could probably even take it one step further and say all of them are bullshit. I haven't seen any evidence for them whatsoever. I think all of them can probably be explained through something that could be either natural or man-made. So I don't go with that theory myself.
Yeah, I'm a bit, I'm on the back foot. I'd love it to be real, but I haven't seen anything that's like, right, okay, we've got something serious here. I've never had it, but other than that, it's just pretending in your own little head.
And to Grace, no, I didn't hear that there were 2 King Arthurs, no, but I definitely know about the Welsh aspect because I studied Arthurian literature as part of my degree in Bangor, where I was very fortunate in that I had as a mentor Professor P.J.C. Field, who is the world's eminent expert in Arthurian literature, and he was just the most typical professor you can ever imagine. He just looked like one, acted like one. He had this tiny office which had a full suit of armor that took up half of it. But he was such a lovely man, and I really loved learning about Welsh literature, such as the Mabinogion, when I actually was living in Wales. It was a very, very important part of my learning.
Right,
I've not
okay.
come across there being 2 King Arthurs, though. That's something I'll have to look into. So thank you for alerting me to that.
Yeah, I've not never had anything about 2. Ooh. Bloody hell, Jake, my mum would have your ear off.
What have I done?
But right, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, that.
Yeah, that's what's the ultimate aim of communism? It is to abolish private property. Look, and it is happening. I mean, I'm not one for believing these master plans, but that I don't think it's they're shutting down capitalism. I think that they're redefining capitalism to fit in with a more socialist bent. So it's not going to be complete socialism like it was before. It's a very manufactured capitalism that favors some and discriminates against others. But we are definitely seeing things happening like that. I mean, the house prices are out of range for most people. I mean, they're trying to get rid of cars, which is why they're, you know, you've got the gas prices and oil prices going up. The shift towards wanting everyone to move to electric cars, that's just going to force a lot of people out of the market.
Yeah.
And yes, it is a form of neo-feudalism. That's quite right, to Gaelic Grace there, also known as Ian, I believe.
Yep, correct. Eon. So I think my hair's falling out there. But yeah, I'll check out the pro-writing aid there that you mentioned there, Grace. I'll investigate. It makes me all very nervous about that sort of thing. But I need to, I know I sent it off to some people, but I don't know. I just always feel like I want to reread it and, do you know what I mean? And embellish it a bit more or take some stuff away. So, but well, yeah. So
you should hopefully you'll get some ideas from the email. Where I've addressed a few of those things. But I would say, just as a general thing, because I know that people in the chat like being creative as well, the one thing that I find differentiates good writing from bad writing is nothing to do with the plot itself, it's nothing to do with the vocabulary, and it's everything to do with how much waste you put into your writing. I think it's really important to look at every single sentence and think, do I need that word? If I get rid of it, will it make any difference? Because a lot of the time people will, for example, they'll over describe something. And what you really need to do, and this is the advice I would give anyone doing creative writing, is show, don't tell.
Yes.
But
I see.
As I said, I'm more than happy to have a look, as you'll see.
Yeah, it's let me just put I'll give you the title for Grace in the chat. But yeah,
there is one other thing we add as well, apart from making sure there's no waste. If you want to do a good piece of writing, it's absolutely pointless doing it if you haven't already read lots of literature yourself. I think you have to learn it as a craft. And that was something I tried to help another YouTuber with once. I offered to help read their book for the exact same reasons that you're saying, which they took as something completely different and misinterpreted it entirely for something that it wasn't. Which is just unbelievable. But yeah, I mean, if it's a book about wizards, then I mean, you've also got to remember as well that writing is very subjective, and what one person likes, somebody else might not like. But I do believe there is an objective standard. I mean, I'm not, for example, I'm not a huge fan of fantasy writing, but I can recognize good fantasy writing from bad fantasy writing.
Yeah.
And it really does help to get feedback with your writing, whatever stage you're at. And mean, there's a number of different things that you can do with a piece of writing to change it that I could go over with if that's something that you felt you wanted to.
Yeah, I mean, I've never done it before, so I'm probably open to quite a lot of ridicule, shall we call it? But I'd rather get that before I give it or post it anywhere. Do you know what I mean? Because like, just because I like it and I'm going to get butthurt over someone saying something, you end up posting a crap book, and it's not all it could be. So it's a waste of time.
Yeah, I mean, I would be prepared to I would be honest, of course, because I don't think that it's going to help anybody if you tell them that their shit writing is good. That isn't going to help anyone. But what you can do is you can look at what they're doing well, and you get them to focus on that instead. And I'm not casting any aspersions or anything there at all. I'm sure your writing is very, very good, but I have seen ones that.
It's probably shit.
Sure it isn't. But what I can do is look at things very, very quickly and spot things. I'm not quite so good at doing it with my own work, but I try.
Trying to pick what. Oh yeah, I've got. I don't know how many because I had to send off, I think, chapters 1 to 3, I think. But I don't know. Oh, that's chapter 7. That's quite big. Oh, I've got 1 to 7 on there because I've got them in Word. That's what I was going to say to you. If I like, it'd be best to send like a chapter or 3, would it not? Because I'd end up like, if I sent you all bloody 26 chapters, you'll be like, mate, piss off. I'm like, where are we going to start? Because it's got to be done bit by bit.
Yeah. And to be honest, it doesn't really need to even be done bit by bit, because what I've found is that there are certain habits that people get into. And once you get them to break that habit, it then applies to the whole thing. I mean, yeah, there might be things like to do with the plot or the characters where you might want to step in and say something, but in terms of the fundamentals, it's usually fairly obvious right at the start. But again, I'm saying it's obvious. It's only obvious because it's something that I'm trained to do. So it's only obvious to me. It wouldn't be obvious to someone that isn't. So I fully appreciate that.
Yeah. Right. So if I sent you like just say the first 3 chapters, would you want it on Word or PDF? Because in Word you can put like, I don't know, red text in it or something, I suppose.
Whichever one you find easiest.
Because I don't know if you want to sort of as you're reading it, you want to be able to get into it and put in brackets in red writing or something, comments. And then you'll be like.
See, the trouble is, I'm being old school. I never used to do it like that. I always did it with pen. But but I can.
That's what I do.
I know how.
I do exactly that. I read it and I'm like, oh, look, that's why I've got another notepad here. And I'm like, oh, yeah, hang on, let me write that down. Yeah, page 6, right? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So I know what you're saying.
Better, to be perfectly honest with you, what I think would probably be better is to have, say, one evening and just spend an hour or so going through it. Because I find it much easier just to sit with someone and say, talk to them face to face and say, why have you done this? Why have you done that? What if you tried to do this? And I used to get the kids to write it down in pen on their work so they knew what to do from listening in. And I found that worked better than just putting comments, because if you put comments, people will only read the bad ones and only remember the bad ones.
Right. Yeah, one thing I did notice, like with this StreamYard, I can set up like a live, send you the link. You can come on. We don't go live. We can just sit here and talk.
Yeah.
And we can even bring it up on screen.
Yeah, and that's how I speak to a friend of mine that I've mentioned before, the ex-Muslim convert. It's exactly how we communicate like this. We just do StreamYards that no one else can see.
Yeah. No, that because
that I find that for me is the way that's worked best. I mean, if that would work better for you, then I can do that.
Yeah, definitely. Because you know, if I don't like what you say, it's tough shit. I need to hear it because it's new to me, and you know, I'm very open-minded and whatever anyway. And I'll be the first one to say to you, look, what you're reading, you'll probably think a 12-year-old wrote it or something. Do you know what I mean? I don't have a very high standard in my head of myself on it, but
no, don't put yourself down. I'm sure it's good.
Wait till you read it, you'll be crying. I'll be like, what are you doing? We haven't done nothing yet. You'll be like, mate, I know what's coming.
Well, if that's the case, I'm sure I'll find a way to express it
softly, yeah.
No,
so you know when you said you wrote a book, yeah, you ever thought about starting again?
But I really do think though that it's absolutely vital that people, if you want to write, make sure you read, because you don't realize how much of it you're picking up.
I won't tell you how many books I've read in my life then.
Well, that's
like
something that maybe you've got time to start.
Cover to cover.
Good. One,
the
Quran.
I haven't even read that cover to cover, or the Bible. I've got this for my birthday last year. It's not been, still not been. I read 2 pages thus far. I'm terrible.
See,
it's my brain. I think I've got a disease, mate. I sit down and I'm like buzzing.
Yeah, that I can understand how that works. Definitely, it doesn't. I don't find that it affects me when I'm reading, but yeah, if I watch TV, that happens.
Yeah, but I mean, I've got better because of what I'm doing here. And then, you know, before, like I read a news article, or I'm reading this, or I've got to read that, or whatever. So I do a lot more reading now since I've had the YouTube channel, but it's not books; it's stuff that I'm reading or researching online.
Yeah, and that doesn't, you know, knowledge, wisdom, whatever you want to call it, it doesn't matter where it comes from. You know, I've said many times on here, a lot of the knowledge I had about literature, I came to it through music.
Yeah.
And it was only later when I started reading all the so-called classics and all that sort of stuff. But it takes to do these things. I mean, there is a belief that it takes 5,000 hours to master something. I don't think you can really put a number on it like that, but it just goes to show though that you have to put the effort in. And reading is something that seems like it's quite a passive act, but actually there are so many different processes going on whilst you're reading. You don't realize that you're doing, you know, brain processes, for example, and all that sort of stuff. But I mean, obviously, since doing the YouTube channel, you've been picking up on things like language, because I can see you doing it when you're picking things out in your videos.
Yeah. There's probably more going on upstairs.
It doesn't matter if people are not reading books. You know, audio books are fine as well. But what I'm getting at is, though, you can't really appreciate how to be a writer without experiencing any writing. But you can experience writing through listening to it as well as you can through reading it. But it's not the same just trying to write when all you've ever done is watch TV or films.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same landscape. I just watched Landscape Artist of the Year, and I was like, oh, let me buy some paint and some canvas. And then I've just done it myself. Some are good, some are shit, but, you know.
Yeah, and that's a very honest reflection of how things are. And that's how all things we create are. Some are shit and some are good.
Yeah. Yeah. Even now, like, I look at a couple and I'm like, really?
I always had this thing I used to use with kids, like sometimes you'd get things where they'd have to cut loads and loads of things out of it to get it to fit to a word count, for example, even stuff that was really good. And I would always say to them that no writing you ever do is wasted. You've got something from it. And also, you might be able to put that to one side. You might find in the future that you've got a use for it somewhere else.
Yep, sounds like a plan. Well, sounds sensible. But yeah, we'll have to sort out a time that's good for you and good for me, and we'll have to investigate and have a giggle. You can have a giggle at my lack of English.
No, that's fine. I'll go through it in a respectful way.
Yeah, they'll be like, how did it go, Wiz? Did you and Jake do your book? Because I don't know, mate. He was talking, but I couldn't understand what he was saying. He wouldn't stop laughing.
Well, I have, like I say, I have done a lot of this sort of things where I'm just used to speaking to one person at a time. So I know how to do it. Obviously, I won't be doing it like I would if I were a professional. I'll be, doing it in my own way. But yeah, I'm happy to do that, of course.
Oh, yeah, because I think I've got decking Wednesday coming. Oh God! Tuesday tomorrow I've got a blood test. Thursday I've got the dentist. Like that's the busiest week I've had for about a year.
Do it next week or whenever's convenient.
Yeah, we'll sort it out, mate. I'll make sure that you're what's it called? You got the time or whatever. So I'm more like, because you're going out of your way for me. I'm more like, you tell me when's good for you. Do you know what I mean? I'm quite, because I know like you're like, oh, I need to sleep at this time or I've got to do that at that time. I'm like, mate, yeah, crack on. I don't want to interfere with your daily routines.
Not at all. No, not at all. And it's probably best to do it about 7. That sort of time is probably easier because I'll have had all my daily naps by that time.
Yeah. I'm available in the evenings a lot more as well because especially wifey's got me doing the decking, mate. So.
Oh dear, Pat's being racist again. Iron Brew mentioned. We know that's a racist trope. Far right.
I had some Iron Brew. I actually had some. Oh my God, mate! The can. I felt like I was drinking froth. It was just full of gas.
I haven't even seen it for years.
Oh, it's lovely. It is nice. So I'm just writing notes that you said 7 p.m. onwards. So
yeah,
making sure I do that and whatever. And what I'll do is if I ever think for next week, I'll think of maybe a couple of dates and say, look, which one of them suits you best. I'll probably do that, mate.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine.
Yeah,
and then
that's cool.
Obviously, send me what you want me to have a look at beforehand, and if there's anything in particular you want looking at, then let me know that. But yeah, that would be fine.
Yeah, I can. Because I've had a lot. I've got my synopsis there. I've got. I don't know if Gmail will let me send all 26 in one hit. Because if we're doing it up on screen, it wouldn't matter if you've got all that, would it? Because we're going through slowly, but I'll bring mine up on screen, or I can do it in free.
Just in the first couple of chapters, that will be enough.
Yeah, I've got it in Word, chapter 1 to 3. So, yeah, okay, we'll do that because I can go in and I can just highlight 4, 5, and 6, copy that over and put it in chapter 4 to 6. And we can do it in freeze if you like.
Because, like you say, and I'm not going to lie about things. I'm not going to read 80,000 words. That's the amount of work I'm doing for my own studies. But
yeah, it's a lot of words, isn't it?
It's a lot of words. Yeah. But what I do appreciate is that what you did that I thought was I did appreciate is that you recognise that it is work, because a lot of times people don't always recognise people. They don't recognise the difference between people doing favours and doing work, if you know what I mean. Like you wouldn't say to a plumber, "Oh, my toilet's broke. Will you just come and have a look at it for me?" and then not expect to pay them for it. Whereas a lot of work people do that, and you very kindly did, and I'm not willing to entertain that idea, but I appreciated the gesture very much.
But time is money, isn't it? As they say, I've always said that all my life. Time is money, and it's always stuck in my head. Whether it's my time, your time, it's just as valuable. So don't disrespect someone else's time or generosity.
Yeah, absolutely. And time is very important. Yeah.
But I've got no issue. I mean, if it works out 1 week, you're like, oh dear, I'm a bit short, and I'm helping Steve. Just, mate, even if you just need to lend money, I'll be like, mate, yeah, not a problem. I'll always help you out, mate. So don't think that if ever you're going to struggle, I'm not saying you are. You're probably very good at finances, like you are your English. But I've got no
that-
issue ever, like, you know, I've got no issue paying you for your time. I've got no issue spending your money if that's better for you or whatever. But don't ever go short ever in life. I will look after you without sounding a bit like putting you down. I don't mean it like that. I mean,
No,
like,
no, I
as a
understand. And
good bloke,
very
I'm more
kind
than
of you.
happy to help you if you need it ever. So
That's very kind of you, and I do appreciate the gesture very, very much. But no, I'm not in any need for anything. No.
well, you just have to have my company then and my friendship. That's all
I'll
I
have
can
to just put up with it instead. Damn it.
Yeah. Damn. Could
Yeah.
have done him there. £100 an hour, mate, for my proofreading.
Yeah, certainly the afternoon didn't go quite as I thought it was going to go, but it's been very interesting and it was fun.
Yeah, it's definitely that bonus. I think was it you who mentioned Owen Jones, was it?
I think so, yeah.
See, that's what they say. Make your own bed, you got to lie in it. So you had to come up.
There I was sat there thinking I can get away with just typing snotty comments and taking the piss out of people when I get called out on the. No, it's good fun. Good fun, and of course it's good to see everyone in the chat as well. I mean, they are really, really good people in the chat. Same people that we see regularly. We know the names, we know the faces. Good people, and it's really great to see that people come back and have got this space where we can have these discussions because they're few and far between.
Don't worry about it, Phil. It's all good, mate. I'm blaming YouTube, but I do say to people about the Ko-fi because bloody YouTube keeps taking 30%. Cheeky bananas. I've watched a few streamers and they all use Ko-fi or Buy Me a Coffee's the other one. But yeah, I mean, YouTube's playing up. It's giving you a hint saying, Phil, do not do it. God's speaking to you.
I saw some creator the other day was doing a relaunch and buy my book and join my special members only club, and not interested in the money. Makes me think that they are quite interested in the money, but I get it. You know, people see it as a business. Not everyone does.
Yeah, well, thing is, you know, that sort of thing. I hope as the channel grows, things just happen and people just think, do you know what? Oh, well, I'll send him £1 or $2. They think it. They don't need me to tell them. I mean, I hate, you know what I'm like, but yeah. So
yeah, I'm the same in that regard.
But in the meantime, ad revenue. Just keep watching. Watch the adverts. Happy days. That's how you support it. Don't cost you nothing. Just a 10-second advert.
Yeah, I have an ad, so I don't really watch them.
So right, yeah, but I do. Look at that. There was me. 2 hours 37 minutes. I said to the missus, "Oh, it'd probably be about hour and a half at the most." I'm trying to get it for that sort of time, but no, it's not.
Yeah,
this time. Jake mentioned Owen Jones, and that was it. I was like, Owen Jones. Oh.
Yeah. To be fair to Owen Jones, I've seen him a lot more obnoxious than he was in that one today.
Yes, definitely. Oh, Phil's on it again. Another 5. Oh, he's getting the juicy biscuits. I was going to say he was going to get the juicy arse biscuits because that's what he said about arse biscuits. There, look, it's to say arse biscuits. So I put it up anyway. But cheers for that, Phil. You're a legend, as always. I can't see who's getting it, though, because of the bloody thingy. I'll go to open another window, and it goes, me.
Where's Foxy?
Where's what?
Where's Foxy? I've not seen the Defiant Fox for a while.
Oh, that's the point, yeah. What's he up to? Yeah, I wonder if he's been on...
He's on holiday.
Discord. Yeah. Oh, did he not say he does stuff with his mum? He had to take her somewhere or something, or he might be mixing them up with somewhere else.
Maybe.
So, but yeah, I don't mind telling people to like, share, and subscribe because it doesn't involve money. I can tell them that every 5 minutes. It wouldn't bother you. You go like, share, subscribe. But when you say, oh yeah, make sure you send a super chat. Make sure you send a Ko-fi. I'm not doing this. In my time costs money. Me. Then I'll just like, just no. I don't watch people like that, so I'm not going to be people like that. It's as simple as that. Look at me and Jake. You get me and Jake for free. I mean, could it be any better? Fate has brought. Yeah,
it could be better, but this is what you get. Yeah, what you pay for.
Yeah, you got Owen Wilson and Gandalf, so like it or lump it.
Yeah,
that's legendary. Right, ladies and gents, that's 2 hours and 40 minutes. Jake needs to go and chill out because he shouldn't have been up here, but you know, it's his own fault. No. But yes, thanks, Jake. I appreciate it. It's all good. How nice is he though? Comes up, we have our little chat. So that's 10 gifted memberships today, ladies and gents, with Phil. Look, that's 2 different ones there, just so you know it's not the same one. So he's beating you all. So if it's a competition, then you all got to start gifting. But it's all good. But it's been a good, nice long one, 2 hours, 40 minutes. I'm supposed to be going for an hour to an hour and a half because I thought, you know, that makes you all want to come back and want more. But what's the next one? Wednesday at 1 o'clock. Yes, Wednesday at 1 o'clock. That's the next one. And then Thursday, don't forget, 7 p.m. Jake should be back. We'll be talking about something somewhere. I will find a video. I've got 3 in mind that are worth reviewing for a giggle. Keep it interesting for you. So I'm trying to think of all different things to see what's popular and what's not, because like X Post Friday was a bit poo. I will use X Post now and again, but the videos, because they're more interesting, aren't they? But yes, thank you very much, ladies and gents. I appreciate every single one who's been in the chat, especially for 2 hours 40 minutes if you've been here that long. Yes, until Wednesday, Nathan. Thank you for being in, Nathan. I did notice you popped in, so happy days. Yeah, 1 o'clock Wednesday, ladies and gents. It's gonna be brilliant. A big massive thumbs up and a big man hug to Phil for donating 10 memberships. What a lovely man he is. And he's got some lovely motors as well, and he's got some lovely dogs and cats. Actually, it's all going well for him. No wonder he's so happy. But yeah, but have a good day, everyone. Stay safe, stay real, stay wizard. We got to be wizard, stay wizard. Ooh. But yes, I'll see you Wednesday 1 p.m. And like I say at the end of every single live stream, that is the wizard's words.